Coming to you live from the outer reaches of space. This is Video Games and Comedy Show. I'm the captain of the good ship Blasto, out here just cruising among the stars. I got a whole team of people here with me. We're carrying a payload of every single PlayStation 1 game that's ever been invented, because we're gonna go take it to some aliens so that they can enjoy it. We gotta spread the word of the PlayStation, as we've done 26 times before. And boy, oh boy, I must say, every time we've done this, something's gone wrong, but we've taken extra precautions this time. We got extra layers on our shield. Every time we do this, we add another layer to the shield, just so nothing gets through there. We've double screwed all of the vents, just in case any Ribleys trying to get down, try to get through the vents, you know? Anyways, let me introduce the members of my crew here who have been, we've been on this voyage now for 300 weeks, and, we're getting kind of sick of each other, but in a comedic way. Okay, anyways, my first mate, second in command, Connor McCabe. How are you, pal?
Jeremy, I'm great. I've got some bad news. At the last minute, when my girlfriend was going to move in, she actually said that she's not moving in with me. She's moving in with Phillips. Really pulled the rug out from under me. So.
Oh, that sucks. I do get it,
with the company.
McCabe has given him the business.
It's good. It's good to have you back.
Thanks, buddy.
We have, of course, we got to eat on this voyage, and so we've hired the one of the best chefs. We've had one of the, and he's making the tastiest foods. It's Michael Hearn. Michael Hearn, welcome.
Bon appetit.
Yes. Hearn. Yeah,
this is my first time.
It's a new year. Are you ready? I haven't
ready.
even play tested it, so we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Let's
do it.
When you look at that Michael Hearn guy, that Michael Hearn guy.
Joe Rogan brought this up. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Do you want to hear one more time, Hearn? I like to play them twice when they're new.
I do. What's the background music just to ask
Punch
'cause I
Out?
can recognize
It's Super Punch Out, yeah.
Super Punch Out specifically. All right, cool.
A game that I think Michael Hearn would appreciate.
That's true. And Michael
For-
Hearn would.
Yeah, for all the
Yes, yeah,
stereotypes,
absolutely.
probably.
All right, one more time. One more time.
When you look at that Michael Hearn guy, that Michael Hearn guy.
Joe Rogan brought this up. Yeah.
Yeah. No Last Joe.
Oh, okay. All right, we have the War Master. This is the person out there. They got all the missiles and ready to defend the ship, and they got the turrets, just in case something's got coming at us. Mikey Stephens, hello.
Hello, how's it going? Hey, I locked all the weapons up. I got some space grass. I just been smoking that. No more
What?
fighting, man.
War
Yeah.
Master becomes botanist?
Yeah, no, I'm smoking this space grass, and it's making me feel like nothing bad in the world could happen. We don't need these weapons. I shot some of them out into space. We don't need them, man.
I like the cut of your jib. I also, equally as important, I think, botany for any crew.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Now basketball is my favorite sport.
I like that
Amazing.
one. I like
Happy
when
to
they're
be
tight
here.
Like that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
yeah.
a fun one.
We got the warp drive engineer. He's got the wrench down there. He's underneath the hood. He's wrenching on the warp drive. It's Mikey McCollor.
Hello. Thank you for letting me borrow your wrench.
It's crazy. You never have a wrench, man. I've lent you my wrench too, man. You never have a wrench.
I always have one of those belts that has the space for the wrench, but I walk into a room and I'm like,
All hammers, just 10
Yeah.
hammers.
And,
oops, all hammers.
And you're always making that joke. You're always saying, like, when I'm a hammer, everything's a wrench. You remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That was my grandfather's favorite joke.
Yeah. Well, what about the guy? What about the person who's in charge of beaming us up and down to different planets? The Scotty, so to speak. Well, that's of course July Diaz, and welcome to the show, July.
I might have space madness.
Oh, no.
If you think you have space madness, you don't.
Berserker Barrage!
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope that's not true.
Well, I've been talking to the space therapists here, and they've been giving me a little bit of clues as to I might have a little bit of space madness.
Well, let's actually bring them in here to get a second opinion, to get that opinion firsthand. Charlie Mihelich, our resident space therapist.
Yeah, July's nuts. His brain is busted. Space has warped him beyond repair. So that's my diagnosis.
I see what you mean, July, about dropping little hints.
Yeah, they're the most
Very
subtle
subtle.
hints. So I gotta agree with him. He's
Yeah, I'd never say it directly to him, but
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah, but you are always doing the holding your
Yeah,
hand up,
yeah,
so we don't.
if
So
you
he doesn't
can't
see
see
it
it,
doing
yeah.
the cuckoo sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Charlie, are you ready for your 2025 sound effect?
Oh, I am. I can't wait.
Yeah. I don't think you haven't been on the show in this year yet. So here we go. This is it.
Merry Christmas, Charlie!
Hell yeah, I love it.
All right, one more time, just because I like hearing them twice.
Merry Christmas, Charlie!
And of course, we have the master of the brig, and we all know what the brig is, and none of us have ever had to look up what a brig means or what a brig is, but basically any newcomer to any one of our voyages is sort of just by default the brig leader, and this voyage it's Kristin Thorsin. Hello.
Hi, hey, yeah, I definitely been meaning to talk about it.
Yeah.
I actually think I might have gotten on the wrong vessel. I was looking for. I'm supposed to be the master of like the Bridgerton meetup that was happening, and I just thought that we were shortening it, and now there's all these people asking me where the brig is, and I'm just acting as if.
Exactly, and they're asking you where it is, and sometimes they're even asking you what it is.
Sometimes they are, and I'm like, well, I think we can only answer that question ourselves. And, you gotta look within. I refer them to the space therapist.
And
right,
Kristin, I know that we all know what it is, but for the group, I think we're all wondering, what is the brig?
Yeah, exactly. If you could just enlighten us here, what is the brig?
Well, it's not the Bridgerton meetup. I've learned that in our journey. True. I think that it might be Yale. Is it Yale?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it might. I think it might be. I think it might be.
And thank you,
I might have a candidate for the old brig.
Someone with space madness?
You might be talking about me.
Yeah. Take July down to Briggerton. That's what we'll be
marbles.
Calling it
His space marbles.
Thank you so much, Kristin. I mean, I'm just so glad that like everyone else could be sure that they know what it was, because I knew before, but it's good that they all know now. So thank you.
And of course, I'm the captain. I have to know because I just have to know what all the stuff is.
I brought it up and asked the question because I wanted for the group.
I'm always happy to reassure everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for doing
great
that.
leadership, Jeremy, for taking care of everybody who maybe didn't know what a brig was.
Of course. That's what I'm here for.
They say Seymour went to Macarena Temple.
That one was designed by Connor McCabe. Let's give Connor a little hand for that. That one is that one not bad. Not bad work, my young friend.
I've been trying to learn from you for years, Jer.
Well, look, here we are. We're in space. We got our good food. We got our good space grass.
Oh, yeah,
you know, only some of us have gone crazy. And then other than that, we've just been playing.
Is he talking about me, Charlie?
No, not at all. You're the picture of health.
Okay.
Please, I can't keep seeing him. Please give me another patient.
Yeah, for sure. Me next. So we've been playing through this PlayStation library here. Kind of going through the games as we're preparing to drop down on a new planet and spread the good word of the PlayStation 1. We've tried to do this voyage once before, and boy oh boy did we get intercepted by a nasty bunch of space rocks and had to eject immediately. And I thought we had lost the entire library, save for what we took in those escape pods. But I guess there was a second library stashed somewhere on Earth. Doubles is best. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I feel really lucky.
Got out of jail.
Two different people at two ends of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Each had collected every game of the PlayStation 1 library.
Yeah. And it was actually keeping the Earth sort of on its axis.
Mm-hmm.
The libraries were sort of in those two different polar opposite points. I got to go around, though, the room, because I haven't even asked in these 300 weeks we've been out here, like, what is everybody's history with the PlayStation 1? Because I'm just so curious, and to me, that's so interesting. Michael Hearn, let's start with you. The PlayStation 1, all
right, let me...
It's the
settle
90s.
The sauce. It'll boil. Don't worry about it. Keep stirring it. All right. Sorry. Now I can get back to. All right. We're talking about our history with the PlayStation.
Yeah.
All right. So it came to me after the Nintendo 64. I had that before I had the PlayStation, and I think what convinced my family to get into it was I played a demo of Crash Bandicoot 2 in front of them, and they thought the graphics were so amazing because you could leave footprints in the snow. So we ended up getting it. My dad looked up online how to mod it, and that was back when to mod something you had to open it up, solder something you bought from a market from a guy at a computer show, and we bought a bunch of bootleg games and played a lot on that on the PlayStation. And it's been a fun time with the PlayStation. Now I don't have a modded PlayStation with me anymore. I have to buy games proper, but it's a good library. There's a lot of good fun stuff on it.
Yeah. Wow. That's what a charmed life.
Thank you.
If only that worked with my parents. Just like, Mom, Dad, let me play this in front of you, and then you're gonna have to buy it because snow.
There's the snow pit.
Snow feet. Connor, what about you? What was your history with the PlayStation 1?
Yeah, so my family, saw just the footprints left in the snow, and
wow, so not just me.
And that
only
that
one
was
set
where I
of
carried
footprints
you.
because he was carrying me that day.
Croc was carrying.
Croc, yeah, it's Croc this time. This was a console. This was
That's
like
sweet.
the console that I would visit friends' houses and play, and never owned myself. I had 2 friends in elementary school who I would go over to their house. One of them, like before school, sometimes his mom would like take us over there, and another friend just when we'd be hanging out. Played a bunch of games, some of which I'm sure are going to come up today. I always really enjoyed them, but it wasn't until, the great pandemic of 2020, as they're calling it, where I bought several consoles that I had never owned before, including a Sony PS1, the redone format of the system, the tiny little guy, and have like a small library of games now. I've played.
Someone gave you a bunch of games. I can't remember. Who.
Also, a certain therapist one day dropped off a bunch of games at my house too, and basically doubled my library.
Is this true?
This is
This
true.
was Charlie did this?
Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this box that I had just been carrying around with a bunch of games, and I didn't have a PlayStation anymore, and I was like, Connor's doing the whole video game thing. I'll call him up and make a donation.
Still have each one of those, Charlie, and they're here if you ever want to steal them back. But we will call it stealing. Anyway, love the PlayStation 1, and I've got it hooked up now because we're doing all this PlayStation 1 30th anniversary crap, Jeremy. So I'm currently playing through a little game by a man named Hideo Kojima, and I mean, it's amazing. I love.
You're playing Police Knots on the PlayStation 1?
Yeah, I got a port, baby.
Wow.
No, it's great. It's a console I don't have like deep childhood memories with, but I can really appreciate what it did for games.
Ugh. I love that. Charlie, let's go to you. So once upon a time you had some stuff, now you don't?
Yeah, because I didn't. The reason why I gave these to Connor is because I don't even really know what this is. I was actually surprised that you invited me on this voyage because I thought they were CDs, but I put them in the CD player and nothing came on. No, when I was 10, I remember going to Circuit City and seeing the kiosk that had been set up with a bunch of demos, and I saw Battle Arena Toshinden, Crash Bandicoot, and then Street Fighter the movie, the game. Yes. And I remember just being like completely and totally blown away, and so I got obsessed with getting a PlayStation, and it started with me getting my parents, who would not buy me a PlayStation, but you could rent them from our local movie store for a weekend. So you would like pay $25 and you would have it for the weekend, and then rent a couple games with it too. And so I remember doing that, but then it doesn't come with a memory card, so I couldn't save any games or anything. So finally got enough money to get one. My mom took me down to Sears to get one. All of this is just a Wayback Machine.
Sears and Circuit City in the same story.
Yes. So yeah, got my PlayStation, and then just like amassed a small library of games, but also I was big into renting. I would get and I would just like rent a game and then just like play the living hell out of it for 48 hours straight until we had to return it like over the weekend. But yeah, I mean, what an entry into the 3D world, especially now looking back and seeing like the difference between the Nintendo 64 in terms of what could fit on a cartridge versus what was able to be fit on a CD, and we were living in the future.
Man, we're not even halfway done with these, and I'm already getting the warm and fuzzies. I just love going back in time and hearing about these Circuit Cities and Sears and renting. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I want to go back. July.
I guess I've always just had a PlayStation. It's always just been there. And I can't remember how it got there into my household, but I remember playing specifically on it the first couple Resident Evil games. And I think I've talked about this to you, Connor. Like me and my cousins would take the TV outside to like our front yard and play those games at night, and it'd be like the most terrifying thing.
That's so wild.
Just hearing like the sounds of like neighborhood dogs, and also like seeing the that moment in Resident Evil with the dogs. It's just
sounded like someone was robbing us. It was
just hearing like over and over and over.
Yes. Yeah. Just so scary.
Really unsettling. Yeah.
And then tons of other games that I kind of don't want to say because I don't want to burn my picks.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what that means, really, but yeah, I mean, in theory, I guess I could understand what you mean.
Man.
Well, I guess based on last time, what happened?
Well, he might just be rambling. He got that space.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm kind of in a mental state where I kind of can see the future in the past.
You're perfect the way you are, July.
Oh, thank you.
You're in a
Nothing to
mental
worry
state.
about.
Lucky. Okay. Michael
Everyone,
McCollor.
we may need to start figuring out some contingency measures for July.
Do me a favor, Charlie. While we're going through the rest of these, would you mind just tying him up?
Yeah, let me get to work on that. July, hey,
Yeah, what's up?
time for a session.
Okay, cool.
I mean, are there any medicinal things to your botany, Mikey Stephens? Are there any medicinal qualities to what your botany is
hell
going
yeah,
on?
man. All
Medicinal.
All type of medicinal. I got the
Yeah, that's what he's reporting there, Mar.
Yeah. Okay, McCollor, let's hear it.
There's a non-zero chance I'd never even heard of the PlayStation until I saw a commercial for Resident Evil 2 and was like, man, I got to play that game. I feel like I've told this story on this podcast 9 times.
Gotta
but yeah,
hear it again.
My friend's dad owned his own like video game store.
Whoa.
So he picked us up for his one weekend with his son, and he picked me up with him. And he was like, what game do you want to play? And I said, the game with the red monster hand coming through the ceiling. He's like, oh yeah, Resident Evil 2. That's the one you can't play because I'm playing it. So we'll get you set up with Resident Evil 1. And yeah, it was always like the cool console. I didn't get one for many years after that, but I just remember laying awake in bed at night, the covers pulled up to my little chinny chin, just dreaming about one day owning a PlayStation and having all those Resident Evils in my home.
That's me every night on the ship. Just covers. Just I'm so.
And I wake up and he's in my room.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, is McCollor anything else you wanted to add to the? I love this story, and who cares? There's new listeners all the time to this show. Sometimes,
I'd never heard it. I love it.
I've never heard it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Jeremy, if every episode going forward, whether I'm on the show or not, if you want to just repeat that story.
Yeah, I'll create like a sound drop.
Okay, great.
I'll just kind of do the story. Kristin.
Oh man, you know how Connor would go to his friend's house and play there? I didn't even do that. I had these friends who had a PlayStation, and they weren't allowed to have friends over, but they lived down the street. So me and like another kid would just sit and watch through the window, watch them play the PlayStation.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I had, which by the way, I grew up in Las Vegas, so everybody has very thick screens. So it was like you had to really get up in there.
Did they know you were watching?
Yeah, they would just sit in their room and play these games, and we would sit outside.
Are you sure it was a PlayStation, not a slot machine?
That's a good question. I do often get them confused.
I do like the idea though that the parents are like, no friends over, but creepily looking into our home. Now that we're into.
It's all good.
To this day, no idea why their parents would not let people in the house, but whatever. But yeah,
and
so
when you say house, you mean casino, right?
Yeah,
yeah, you mean the Bellagio fountain, right?
Yeah, their hotel.
Yeah, you just didn't have an
suite
ID
was
to
locked
get in.
I couldn't badge into their floor. But yeah, so I just always really wanted to play some of the games that I saw them playing, and then I
mostly
also
games where you try to match 3 symbols.
Yeah, a lot of Bejeweled style games. But yeah, that's and also Buffalo. I always really wanted Buffalo on the slot machine for myself. But yeah, no, and then I also bought like a pandemic PlayStation, and I played a lot of like most of my experience, not to spoil anything, is playing a lot of weird, shitty licensed games. So
cool.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I like the era of like weird licensed games, and there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to chat more about some of those because I'm also very interested in that. Mikey Stephens.
Yeah. The PlayStation for me was the first console that felt like it was mine. I have a sister and a brother that I grew up with. I have 3 sisters, but I grew up with 1 sister and a brother, and everything was shared. We shared everything. So we had the Nintendo, and then we didn't get a Super Nintendo, didn't get a 64, but we did one Christmas get the PlayStation. And when we got the PlayStation, I don't know why. Maybe my brother, I don't know, at that point I think was in high school. He kind of was like, I'm not playing video games. I'm doing high school stuff. And my sister wasn't really that into it, so that was my shit. That belonged to me. And I remember the Christmas we got it, my dad we didn't get any games, but we had this weird like demo disc. I don't know if you guys remember shit like this, but it was a demo disc with a very short Abe's Odyssey. Like you could play like maybe 1 level. And then the intro sequence to Metal Gear Solid, the first Metal Gear. And I played that Metal Gear Solid demo over and over and over. I was like, I've never seen anything like this. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is incredible. Changed my life. By the time I actually got my hands on the game, it was like years later, because that was also how it worked in my household. It was like, eventually we got a game. My dad was like, yeah, you got the game, so you're done. We're not getting more games. They get 1 game. So I had to like barter and trade with friends and like really like finesse my way into getting other games. But yeah, the PlayStation was like the first console that felt like it was mine. So yeah, that's my history.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, everybody. I'm gonna, my history at the PlayStation 1 is this is probably it's so tough, but like I probably have the best memories, the most nostalgia around the PlayStation 1, and I think it's because when I got a PS1, it was like around the time that I moved from California to Texas when I was a kid. And my parents bought it for me as sort of a consolation, like, hey, you're not going to have any friends anymore, and you just hit puberty, like, just now. You are living in hell. And so they bought it for me because I was so fascinated, so obsessed with that game, Final Fantasy VII, which was a game that I had seen. They had TV ads for it, TV spots for it that looked so cool. And then I was able to play some of it or watch my friend's uncle play some of it at his house, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. It just looked so great, and I just wanted some of that. So
did you keep doing this?
I was sort of doing that, yeah. Yeah. I was crying so hard I kept wiping.
Yeah, he's crying because he hit
tears.
puberty.
Yeah, I was crying because I was so in love.
Sure.
So yeah, but my parents bought me the console, and of course, I then could rent whatever games I wanted, and I would rent Final Fantasy VII from Blockbuster, but they didn't buy me a memory card, so and I've told this story many times on the podcast before, but what I would do is I would play in one sitting through the entire first disc of Final Fantasy VII, and then just kind of have to do it again.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
That's a meaty chunk. That's
a lot of game, yeah.
Yeah.
There was one summer where I was just
you
kind of
just
doing
turn
that.
the TV off. You just leave it on. You just turn the TV off.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, the PlayStation 1 was like my little friend. I loved it so much, and you know what, because I also had an N64, and that was sort of the family console. Like we kind of, that's how my family did it. We kind of had the Nintendo stuff was always the family stuff. So I'd have to share that with my 2 sisters or my dad or whoever. But the PlayStation was kind of mine, and I remember thinking like, oh, the PlayStation's kind of dangerous. Like the N64 to me, it felt like
I'm getting a lot of heat at school because of this PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, because like it had games like Resident Evil. That was dangerous. Or it had Tomb Raider.
Are you saying you don't think that Conker's Bad Fur Day is edgy?
Well, it's fun. Well,
Are you saying that, Jeremy?
I guess I'm
pretty
not,
dangerous.
Look, I'm not
There's a
actually
big
willing to
poop
go
monster
that
in that.
far.
Yeah, he farts and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm aware of the Great Mighty
gets drunk.
Pooh.
There's a Saving
sure.
Private Ryan level.
There is, yes. There's Matrix references. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But that game came out in 01. So
Yeah, it came out a little
if you're in 97, 98,
Turok was pretty violent.
That's
That was a
true.
launch title.
That's true. You are really destroying my whole thing here about how I
Steeds
felt
of
about
Evil, they call them.
And
that
to be
sequel.
fair, Resident Evil 2 did show up on the N64 as
Yeah,
well.
so what the hell are you talking about?
Now who has space madness?
I guess it's me who has space madness. Anyways, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what the PlayStation 1
South
is.
Park
just
the game?
briefly. Yes, that's right. There's Shadow. I'm aware. that there was M-rated games on the N64, but
Mortal
the
The
Kombat.
piano in Mario 64?
the PS1 just felt more adult. Is that fair? Did it feel more
It
adult to
does,
anyone
yes,
else?
it
Sure,
did.
yes, yeah.
Okay,
And its
great.
marketing was a lot edgier.
Right. Crash Bandicoot was out there with a megaphone yelling at the Nintendo headquarters.
It's
I
not.
feel like there was
it's
maybe
not
an
baby's
article.
console, you know.
Yeah,
Really
it's not
eating
babies.
the Sega Genesis's lunch in the marketing campaign.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, and then there was the Sega Saturn. It was around at the same time too, which was completely getting trounced, roasted.
Which is sad. What a good console. Just, I don't know, like not ever see the light of day, kind of.
Yeah.
Expensive.
It's because it was a surprise launch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They-
yeah.
And they didn't have the games ready, and Sega just like held their conference and was like, "And it's out." And publishers were like, "We have not tested on dev kits." Crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, well, I don't feel like kind of this turned out to be just true in retrospect that like
You can feel too.
Your
way
feeling is probably right though.
Yeah.
the way that the three big consoles at the time interacted with 3D game development was in ascending order, starting at the bottom with the Saturn. They had planned for it the worst and really struggled with 3D games. PlayStation was kind of the next step up. Like it also struggled with polygons. Like it was not necessarily as well designed for polygons as the N64 ended up being. The N64 was actually really, really good at 3D gaming. So, like, why Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64? There's really nothing like that on the PlayStation 1. I mean,
But
some
the
people
audio
say
had to be
Spyro,
so
but no.
compressed and stuff.
I mean, there were trade-offs for sure, and there was like a lot more room, so you could do a lot of like pre-rendered stuff that really easily on the PlayStation. But this is a console that came out in '94 in Japan, which is a very long time ago if you think about it.
It is, man.
I
Agreed.
guess it is. Yeah.
I would like
Old
everyone to
as a
take a quick
goddamn ghost.
break to kind of
that's
think
crazy.
about it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
want to. I'm
Okay.
too old.
It came
Someone
out here,
was doing a very famous Bronco chase during that.
and Kurt Cobain died that year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, man. And the PlayStation came out anyway.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
PlayStation didn't wait for any of that to yeah. So in America though it came out in '95, and that's why we are celebrating the 30th anniversary on our network in 2025 because that's our anniversary. You know what I
USA,
mean?
Yeah.
We're American. Connor brought it up earlier in his intro. It was sort of a joking way, but I do love this story about how Sony and Nintendo once upon a time were in bed together. They were going to release a console together where they had a CD-ROM, and then Nintendo sort of pulled the rug out from under them and went with Philips instead, and history was made that afternoon.
Crazy.
I don't
yeah.
know what's funny about my girlfriend leaving me for Philips. But that's I do know that story. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, PS1 also beat the Sega Saturn's price in the market. That was one of their tactics, was to just slash $100 off of the original asking price, which is pretty smart.
It feels like the Saturn's kind of pricing structure and how complicated it was to develop for it would be mirrored by the PS3 a couple generations later.
Yeah, you really get this feeling of hubris that will happen every couple generations whenever you a certain console dominates the market, like the Wii did. You know, then the Wii U fucking sucks, or the PS2, and then the PS3. You know, On and on it goes.
And it is usually your third console.
Yeah,
Take some steps. You feel like you really hit it out the park, and then you're like, we're gonna live forever. And then you release the PlayStation 3 or the Saturn, and you have to take it
or the Xbox One. Yeah,
Xbox One. Yeah.
Nothing funnier than that, you know? Just
that was a
that
good
type
idea.
of hubris, just being like, we're fucking untouchable, and then immediately being like, we fucked up.
Yeah,
right
we
after
blew
that.
it.
We blew it in Xbox, and it sounds like kind of Saturn's case too. Like as they announced the system, like this couldn't be going worse in the middle of it.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 really did dominate the market in their respective eras. The N64, you know, and I think we think of it like it did better than it really did in real life, which was it did pretty bad.
Excuse me, Captain.
Yeah?
Have you talked about the sort of infamous 299?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh, do you
I
mean
tied
like
him up? I didn't tie him well.
Do you mean like where they slashed the price to $299?
Yeah, and that's really the only words spoken during the E3 conference from Sony.
And that was smart too, because I mean the PlayStation also didn't have the games right away either. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this, but originally the PlayStation 1 games would come in these big, long, tall boxes. And really, I think at the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the biggest game was Tomb Raider. That was the one that the Saturn had exclusivity rights to, and then eventually went on the PlayStation. And it was like kind of the first 3D, you know, platformer of the time. And that was sort of its fame is sort of stems from it being this huge deal back in the mid-90s. Does anyone remember Tomb Raider being like a huge deal?
And very controversial too, because she was so sexually suggestive.
Yeah.
Actually, in middle school, I had learn how to use a computer class, and I remember distinctly the teacher had Tomb Raider, and he had a joystick, and he made everybody come up and look how you move the character on the computer with the joystick. And it was like he was blown away by Tomb Raider, and we were all like, we play video games every day.
That motherfucker knew. He remembers a time when joysticks were wood. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, yo, this is crazy.
And cars were wood.
Cars were wood.
Food was wood.
Her wife, she was wood.
Well,
no more splinters. Am I right, students? That's what he kept saying.
Yes, teacher.
The PlayStation 1 did have a couple of revisions along the way.
Sorry,
it did.
That's so funny to me. Just that he's like, there's no splinters.
Yeah.
Check this joystick out.
That cord's made of wood. So we would eventually get what was called the Dual Shock,
and then he would play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and oh, okay, there's a splinter in this.
When you first said Splinter earlier, I did think you were talking about the Ninja Turtles, and it took me a second.
All right,
I'm glad you got that.
Put me back in the ropes.
Yeah, so when I finally got the PlayStation 1, I did get the Dual Shock Edition, which I always thought was an upgrade to the system. It's really just included the controller. That was
with the analog sticks.
Yes.
Yeah, and it had 2 analog sticks as opposed to the Saturn's 0 analog sticks or the N64's 1 analog stick, which was a huge deal because it meant you could do dual stick stuff, even though there really wasn't that many options to do dual stick gaming back on the PS1.
And the first-person shooters didn't even have that. They hadn't figured out the Halo model of shooting yet.
Yeah, for a long time it was you would go forward with your joystick, and then you would use the R buttons to sort of
control.
And you'd have to do it, static, basically. You couldn't do move and aim at the same time.
I'm gonna get this wrong. I feel like there was an alien first-person shooter on the PlayStation 1 that had the controls that we would eventually come to know as control sticks, and
really?
EGM gave it a horrible review. They were like, the controls
right
are
now.
fucked.
Yeah.
We move with the left stick and aim with the right stick. It's stupid.
Yeah. This will never work.
Crazy.
They say. And yeah, that's sort of everything about the PlayStation 1. It's a great.
Great.
console,
Are we gonna have
roll
lunch
up
now?
some space grass?
Yeah.
Anybody want
Are
some of this
you
space
guys
grass?
wanting to have some? Okay.
My socks went everywhere.
Oh, okay. Hold on. What's going on? We, Mikey, would you give me a status report? What's happening out there?
I mean, I shot all the weapons out in space, but
okay, so there's nowhere to defend ourselves. Great.
Yeah.
Just my luck.
We're getting attacked by an enemy fleet.
Oh!
So
You gotta be kidding me!
We have some shield. We have shield left for, I don't know, like half an hour maybe.
How many layers?
There's an extra layer than normal. That's what I can tell you.
Yes, that's true.
I
One
can help out with
more
those
than
shields. I can help out with
usual.
those shields. Mikey Stephens, can I borrow your wrench?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, this
It's like
is
a
good.
comically big wrench.
It's a hammer. It's a hammer.
And very light.
Okay,
I thought
Mikey.
that would be funny. Here's my actual wrench. I'm sorry.
McCollor,
Okay, thanks.
what do you see when you wrench?
Ratcheting up the shields.
Uh-huh.
We got 2.
2 layers, that's it?
2 layers.
Well, that's a lot
That's
less
more
than
than
I thought.
one.
That's a
and
lot
more
less
than
than
zero.
I thought.
So
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see you had any shields capping.
Charlie, quick, make contact with the enemy fleet. Find out if they're friendly.
Hey guys, we're on a bit of a mission here, and you guys came up on our system, so we just wanted to ask, we cool?
Are you talking to me? I'm mad. I'm going space mad. I can't tell if you're talking to me or not.
Do you want us to get shot? Do you want us to get shot by these guys?
No.
Shut up. Don't
July,
listen
be
in.
cool. July,
That's
be
my
cool.
little brother. He's a
be
prankster.
cool, man. Be cool.
He's the original
Yeah.
prankster, Offspring style.
Yeah, I can't tell. It's unknown. They're not
It's
responding.
unknown?
I can't hail them.
Well, we have to assume they're hostile. Michael Hearn, quick, how many, do we have at least one escape pod for all of us?
We do. I don't know why you're asking me to chef, but
He's a
yes, we
chef.
do have
Just
8
just
people,
spreading their
8
wealth
escape
around
pods.
here.
Sure. You're lucky that they're right across from the kitchen and I can see it.
Okay, you can see him. Okay, we have one at least for each of us. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, at least there's enough room in each one of these escape pods to take the entire PS1 library with us as we jet off into space, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Crap. I'm looking closer. I don't think that's true. I think there's only 5 slots for PlayStation 1.
There's only 5 CD slots for 5
Yes.
discs? Oh, no,
Per
that's
person.
terrible.
But it does come with every single utility that you can get for the PlayStation 1, like guns and multi-taps and everything that all comes with this.
Wait, and
Okay.
Japanese releases? And I mean
Yeah.
Japanese
Yeah,
releases?
yeah, I
or-
think in Japanese releases probably.
Wait,
That goes without
Captain.
Oh,
saying.
thank God.
Yeah. July?
I just realized I can use the teleportation device that I'm in charge of to sort of teleport 5 more games.
Oh, perfect.
Whoa.
Hold on, let me take a look at this here. I'm holding my coffee, and oh no, I've spilled my coffee on the
It's
teleportation.
okay. It was just
got
his. He
everywhere.
was holding his
So
own feces.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Dang
Oh
it.
no.
I'm so sorry, guys. That
July was holding his
almost
food.
got away
Yeah.
with 10, but I guess we're gonna have to jet out with only 5 games each. That sucks. That's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 5, 40 games. That's all we're gonna get to keep from the whole library, a prolific library such as the PS1s. But
Did I
Hearn,
hear
tell
you
me.
say there were just... Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. No,
Are there
quick,
only
McCollor.
5 disc slots? 'Cause some
Yeah, can we bring
games
the
are 2
case?
discs.
Oh, I
Some
think
games
it's
are more than
Oh,
that.
the ships are malleable. You can't.
Yeah.
Even,
Okay.
You know, you could put like a 4-discer in there, but you
Well,
can't-
you're obviously talking about Final Fantasy VII, and so...
A lot of
Yeah.
discs.
Okay, elephant
Well,
in the room.
it's 5 slots, but if it's a bigger one, we just kind of wedge it in
Yes.
and
You
use
can
the
wedge it in.
malleability of the ship. Okay, got it.
Or you can tuck some of the discs into the many best of SNL collections that we have in there, because each one of these comes with the entire run of SNL.
Well, I
best
was gonna
of.
say I do have all those already sort of set aside, and those are gonna fit no matter what.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. Great. Do you guys mind if I turn
The
off
best
this?
of Denitra Vance is one that's I'm gonna
Turn off
check
the
out
alarm
later.
music? Yes.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
it's
Let me turn
alarming.
off. Let me turn off the alarm
Yeah,
music.
people in the
Thank you.
burger
Yeah.
screaming.
I'm alarmed.
I
Well,
got
we're leaving
Anthony
them on.
Michael
We're
Hall
leaving
in
them
my
here.
room.
We're leaving them
Okay.
here.
My
Well, that's
proposal to
fine.
play
Okay.
calming Zen music when we're in an emergency keeps getting shot down.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just because
well-
how will we know? I'll go to sleep right away.
Well, I just...
It's true.
Listen, I'll just keep pitching stuff. I got all the space grass you need.
Oh, perfect. I'm gonna need some of that to calm my nerves as I
Yeah.
freaking have to go on another isolated voyage. Speaking of space madness, every time I go out there on those escape pods, I get space madness.
Oh man,
Start-
don't get me started with the bank. Yeah,
Yeah.
Waiting in the line at the bank.
Yeah,
Space
dude.
madness.
Oh my gosh, I get space
know?
madness.
That
yeah.
space is maddening.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess
Get me off this ship and onto my pod.
I guess the only fair way to distribute these PlayStation 1 games is to, I don't know, probably do like a fantasy draft style kind of
Yeah,
situation.
That's
like
quick thinking, Captain. Good thinking.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a snake draft.
That's
that way it's
good,
kind of
Captain.
fun.
Yeah, we love you, Captain.
Person at the, we'll start with whoever goes first, and then when we get to the end, they'll pick
I love
twice,
you,
and then we'll
Captain.
go back around. Okay,
I love you.
okay. And
I
then
went to the academy,
you
Captain. I know what a
guys-
snake draft is.
okay, good, perfect. I just making sure if
And
anyone
it's
gets
not a solid snake draft, Captain.
actually, it is for this, and
Okay,
thank you for
good.
saying that. And I didn't even realize that we could do that.
Thank you.
So,
Love you, Captain.
And I love you guys too. And listen, I guess we should probably figure out who goes first in the draft. And I think the only way to really do that is to pull up a random number generator on Google.
I think Jeremy. I've actually funny you say that. I've got one up right here.
Oh my God, guys, we are we're in lockstep on this crew. This is like the most well-oiled crew I've ever had on one of these things. Charlie, no
And yet.
yawning, no yawning.
Did you guys
Sorry,
steal all my
it's
cooking oil?
space exhaustion.
Here, hold. This will help.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. All right. Connor, would you mind doing the honors then? And I guess we gotta each of us pick a number, huh? Between 1 and 8.
Yeah. Do you mind taking those numbers down, Jer?
Yes. I will just start us out with 1. I'll be 1.
Kristin, what number do you want? You're a first timer.
7.
I'll
Seven's a
take
good number.
I'll take 8.
8's a good number.
6.
Hearn is 6.
Whoa, what the hell? Some of us don't get a pick.
Just pick. You just gotta shout it
This is
out.
bullshit.
4.
5.
2.
Whatever fucking number I
Caller
get.
4. Charlie, what'd you say? 2?
5.
5.
No, I said 2.
So I'm fucking 3.
Okay,
no matter what.
Mikey's 3. Perfect.
Fuck you guys, man.
Gotta be quick on the draw.
Hey,
I think
fuck
actually,
you,
I
Mikey.
think
Captain,
Mikey's
I love
Just
you.
decided to get mad rather than picking a number.
Sorry. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys.
Here.
I love you, Captain. I love you, Captain.
I do think Mikey's bringing up a good point in that we should probably figure out a way like who picks which
No, it's
number
fine.
first.
I'm 3.
Yeah, random letter
I
generator.
propose we do a random number generator to see which number.
No.
Great
We've already
idea,
picked.
Captain.
I'm 3. I love you.
I choose
and,
all
and
numbers
fuck
then for
everybody
the
else.
random numbers.
Okay, here we go.
so what
And
we'll
Connor,
do-
I'm
so-
looking at the stream
We
here.
got for those of you watching our space mission at home on YouTube or Twitch, we've got the RNG on screen, so that there's accountability. And the way it'll work is that whoever's number is picked, they'll go first, and it will go. The numbers following will be the order. So let's say it is number 3, then whoever has number 4 will go second, and so on.
If it's 3, we are all owed an apology.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Jeremy,
I
you
know.
say the
yeah.
word.
I think
You say the
it's
word, and
well
I'll hit
deserved.
the generator.
Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1, hit it.
It's 5.
Ah!
Charlie.
Fuck. That's not 3.
Okay, that means it is Charlie.
Famously, not 3.
And then Hearn. And then Kristin. And then Connor. And then me. And then July.
This is fucking rigged.
And then Mikey. And then, of course, the great McCollor.
Mikey, you're gonna get 2 picks very close to each other, though, which is nice.
Sell me on
It's
this.
good for
Don't-
strategy.
Congratulations,
It's so good
Mikey.
for strategy.
Don't do this.
And okay, this is Charlie, you're first. You've been on a voyage with us before, so you know how this works. I would love to hear what your first pick is, unless anyone has anything they wanted to mention before we get started. Japanese games are okay.
Yes.
But
oh,
the only clarification on that is
Yes?
that, like, if someone takes Final Fantasy VII,
No doubles. No
No
doubles.
no doubles, yeah.
Yeah. And how do we feel about collections?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If it's a disc
Yeah.
on the PS1,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
But
It's a disc on the
but
PlayStation
I
1.
think the rule still applies. No doubles. So if it's a game, you can't. I don't know. I can't think of an example right off the top.
I can.
I
and
can
don't
think
like
of two.
what
I can
I'm
think
hearing.
of three.
I can think of two specifically.
There's like
I don't
different
think that-
editions of games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
don't
if it's
know
like
about that.
a different edition of like the same game,
Like Resident Evil Director's Cut.
yeah, maybe no.
Oh.
And we don't need to say any names. Maybe just not this one.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll figure it out when it
Okay.
comes up. Maybe we can workshop it around then. But Charlie, the floor is yours.
Oh, you know it's coming right off the bat. Final Fantasy VII is off the table. Yeah, this is the game that actually really introduced me to RPGs in a way that I was at my cousin's house visiting them in Oklahoma, and they were playing it, and I just remember thinking, it don't get better than this. It never will.
It don't, baby.
And
really don't.
Then I scrounged up enough money to get it. Got it from Toys R Us.
Oh, yes!
Toys
Shout
R
out.
Us.
Toys R
Charlie,
Us,
you are
RIP.
winning this episode in terms of name dropping nostalgic places that
Yes.
are no longer around.
And
Getting my
I
childhood
had
into
this
existence.
old ass Macintosh Performa computer that could barely connect to
Keep
the
it
internet.
coming, Charlie.
And
Cook.
I
Cook.
would go to a game FAQs, which was like the only place that you could get
Whoa.
walkthroughs.
Grease.
And that was how I looked up stuff that I couldn't figure out, or I had a friend that had played the game
and
a
you gotta
ton, and I
print
would
out that thick
call
stack,
him on the
baby,
yes,
that fucking
Yes.
thick stack,
You
and
gotta
that
print it
and
out.
ASCII,
my
ASCII,
God.
Printer paper that's all connected with perforation.
And you gotta have one
Absolutely.
friend, and his name is Ian, and you like, Ian,
Yeah.
read this shit, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna play. You read.
And I
Yeah.
We did all have
remember
a friend named Ian who was good at games, didn't we? Fuck.
getting Knights of the Round and just
the
being
nostalgia
like,
for
I am dealing 130,000 damage with every cast of this summon. Plus, I've paired it with
Good stuff.
Mime, and
good
and
stuff.
then 4 times master on Mime, so that I could do it over and over and over again. Holy crap! Taking down Ruby weapon, Emerald weapon, Diamond weapon, taking down them all. Yeah. It's still one of the best gaming experiences of my entire life, and I do not think that any Final Fantasy since, even though I've played them all, has made me feel the way that Final Fantasy VII felt.
Oh, I'm getting hot over here. I'm sweating. I'm sweating hearing all this. Charlie, great pick. I'm not happy, but great pick.
Some real bullshit, but
Some real bullshit. But Hearn, you are
Hello.
up. You have the floor.
All right. I think I'm going to go with a game that I bought from a Funko Land.
Oh!
I hope he says
actually
my
don't know.
grandma's house next.
Yeah, and I played it at Connor's grandma's house. It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
I've been playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown lately, and I keep forgetting just how fun that specific version of Metroidvania is, where it's just so snappy, so fast, just all about great combat and great abilities and traversal. And I think of all the most influential, as much as I love Metro games, I think Symphony of the Night really influenced what Metroidvanias do, because it just is all about traversal and that specific build up of weapons. And,
It's the
movement
Vania
and
and the
all.
Metroid.
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
right.
It
the
is.
the
It's half of the
bottom
formula.
half of the horse in the Halloween costume horse.
Yeah.
My God.
When the castle flips over,
most important-
oh my God! Midway
The
through
tea
the game,
leaves in the pot, and you're making tea.
You guys,
It's
you guys
it's
know what
truly
I'm
the
saying.
tea leaves in the tea. Yeah.
It is the most
Hearn,
important.
I
Oh.
play this game once a year in October when it's spooky. Does anyone else have
That
games
makes
like that?
sense.
They just play once a year. They just love them so much.
Little bit. I play-
I have
play
a game that
Miles
I play more
Morales
than
every
that.
time around Christmas. I think
I
it's
play the
perfect
guy
Christmas
game once a year during
Oh,
spring break.
Kristen, did you
Mario
say you had
Sunshine
one?
every June?
Yeah, I play Kingdom Hearts 2 once a year when I'm depressed.
Yeah.
It's a real pick me up.
Yeah. Is Cloud in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's in that
He is. Yeah.
Well,
Probably.
Kristen, it is your turn. You have the floor.
I am going to take what I suspect might be another big hit. I'm going to take Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Yeah, girls aren't even allowed to skateboard.
This is what I was talking about, Jeremy. No. And so there's got to be another one available.
Yeah.
This is devastating.
Simply must be another one.
This is devastating.
This is one that was on N64 and I would rent all the time. And I have played the PS1 version and it's pretty much identical. So I love that game. I love all Tony Hawk games. I was very into skateboarding at that age. Yeah, it's really cool. I bet that some of the other crew might be really jealous, but I would like to remind them that I have the keys to the brig.
Yeah, that's true. And we could just go in there anytime.
I got all the guns, so...
Well, you launched those into space.
Shot them all out into
You
space.
told us earlier.
You can't pull off.
Well, I'm high.
And I got the ultimate secret weapon, July.
Oh, no.
I'll turn him loose.
Kristen, before we move on, who's your main?
You talking about me?
I love Bucky Lasik.
Bucky Lasik.
Dude,
Nice choice.
Bucky's great.
Nice choice. He was my main when the game was out, when it came out. Relevant game.
Yeah.
And now I'm a Rodney Mullen guy. Okay, Connor, you're up.
A high D.
No.
Metal Gear Solid.
That's it. There's actually no more good games now. Like that. We just took them all.
Dude.
No, you didn't take the best one. VR missions.
That's true. Jeremy, can you say the word
VR
brother
mission
for me in a
is
certain
still on
way?
the table.
Brother.
That's. I feel like
Hulk Hogan?
yes,
Brother.
that's what it was. Metal Gear Solid, a game that hit me later in life, and it's a game I'm playing right now on my PS1. I've played through this and Twin Snakes once each. I love both. I know that's controversial, but I love Twin Snakes as well. It's in
Good game.
Yeah, I can't. This game is like timeless to me, and I didn't even play it until I was like 28. So, yeah. What is there to say about the game that started it all? I don't know if it's my favorite in the series. I go back and forth between like 3, 2, and 1, but I don't know. I think this one oftentimes lands at the top of my list because the Rogues Gallery is so good. All the tricks the game pulls, how clever it is. It's a blast.
Yeah, still my favorite Metal Gear game. Bummers, it's gone. Okay, it's my turn. And McCollor, I want you to know.
Oh, wow.
That I love you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
And the only reason this is happening, it's actually not my fault. It's actually everyone who went before me's fault, okay? I just want you to know that. It's not me. It's not me who's even doing this. They
rolls.
have forced my hand.
All right.
I have to take Resident Evil 2. I have to.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
to. I have to.
Wow.
McCauley
That
just
is
logs off.
Fucked up.
I feel like a father giving away his daughter. Like, treat her well, man.
Or
Treat her
like
well.
how like mafiosos would like trade children. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Have
raise
my
this my
AJ.
kid, and I'm gonna raise your kid, and that's what's gonna keep us from killing each other.
Resident Evil 2, McCollor.
You gotta
I mean,
take one of his kids.
I love that the mafia did those kid swaps.
Yeah.
know?
And they
That's
would do
where they
that.
got wife swap from. and that
Yeah.
was the-
It originated with Kid Swap.
Well,
Resident
they
Evil
started
2,
with wife swap, and it didn't work out as good.
best game ever. Maybe one of the best. Maybe the best game on the console. I'm only saying that because I'm salty that the other ones got picked.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's great. It's incredible. The whole idea of playing as Leon's story and Claire's story, and that the two saves talked to one another, or the save that you had talked. I mean, that was just so. I felt like so intuitive and forward thinking, and it felt like so much mystery behind all the different endings and stuff. Resident Evil 2 is a very, very special game. There are people here who do like it objectively more than me, but I still love it a lot. It's in my top. It might be number 2 for me. So that's my pick. July, your turn.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how many people here are gonna choose this. I'm not sure how much of a fighting game fan everyone here is, but there's a couple that are some big names on the console, but I got to go with one that sort of broke the mold and sort of changed this whole franchise after this came out, and it's Tekken 3.
Yeah, it's on my list.
baby.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean,
The amount of content in that game too.
Yes, and it's probably one of the first like 3D fighting games I remember playing, because I did play a lot of like Street Fighter and X-Men versus Street Fighter and those kind of like cross-generational 2D fighter games. But Tekken 3, music's incredible, all the different character designs that borrowed from like existing like movie tropes and whatnot. It's just a lot of fun, and the story is batshit crazy, doesn't make any sense.
Always, every Tekken.
But yes,
So
that's,
cool,
I feel like
It's
this
so
one
crazy.
kind of like started that kind of trend of the next one had to kind of like go bigger and crazier than the last. So yeah,
Great
Tekken 3.
pick. Man, oh man. Oh, Mikey Stephens, you're up. I gotta say, so far, unless we break the pattern here, this is a murderer's row of PS1 games. Like, this is like you hit any YouTube video of top 10 games. These are on there.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go with one that's a retroactive pick, meaning
It's already been picked.
it's something that yeah, I'm gonna go back in time and pick something that was picked, and
Oh, okay,
that's how I'm
interesting.
doing it.
Really forward thinking.
No, I mean retroactive in the sense that I didn't play this at the time, and it was something that I discovered later as a video game connoisseur that I love very much and is dear to me, and it's Tactics. And I'm gonna take Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Because I love tactics games. I didn't know about tactics games when this game came out. I didn't know what RPGs were. You know, like again, Final Fantasy VII was my also introduction to that universe entirely. But this is something that I didn't play at the time. But I think the same story is the one that you can download in the App Store, if I'm not mistaken. The War of the Lions. Yeah. So I have played that, and I love tactics games, but it was something that I discovered later in life. So Final Fantasy VII is gone. Metal Gear Solid's gone.
Incredible
Tony
pick,
Hawk's
though.
Pro Skater 2 is
Yeah,
gone,
it's gone.
which I would argue is the best PlayStation
That's the best
game.
one. That's the best Tony Hawk. Maybe the best
It's
PS1
just the
game.
most fun game on PlayStation. I think, period. But
I don't know. Doing Knights of the Round with Mime is pretty good too.
Look, I
Pretty
love
good.
media RPG, but I think if there was, and you know, I love an NBA 2K25 award.
Of course.
So if there is one for the PlayStation, it is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. But off the table, so Final Fantasy Tactics is my first pick.
And you know, Cloud is in Tactics, so he's in there.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in that game.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know
Little
that.
cameo.
Yeah, little cameo.
Cool.
And he's in Air Guys.
Yeah, and that's still on the table. So anyone at any moment can pick Air Guys.
Well, that's my first pick.
I love it. Mikey McCollor, back-to-back picks. You got the coveted double-double over here.
All right. Well, listen. My plan was with my double picks to take Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, and I thought that would have been cute. But I'll just take Resident Evil 3.
All right.
I love Resident Evil 3 here. Yeah, Resident Evil 3 actually is probably the best like speed run of them. It's the only one that has random elements, so there is a lot of fun. Like the first major weapon you find will either be the grenade launcher or the Magnum. Like it would be fun to really hone my skills in that one. And that one is like I didn't know about Resident Evil 2, and that opened the door. 3 was like, you know, I had an entire year just like, what could Resident Evil 3 possibly be? And what it was weird and not quite as good, but still its own bizarre little offshoot. I love Resident Evil 3. Like, it's 2A. 1A. No, wait. it's 1B to Resident Evil 2's 1A.
Yeah.
If that tracks. Okay. You
And
get
they're
it.
very close together in like story and tone and everything. But yeah, no, I think it's great. Oh, wait a second. This isn't good.
Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
This isn't good. Okay. Sorry,
This is tight.
folks. A Ripley just
No.
just,
Oh.
just jumped
I
on the
mean,
ship.
Are you sure this isn't a space grass hallucination?
I wish it was. I wish it was, but I'm dead sober over
Oh
here.
no!
and this
it's
thing.
it's licking up all the coffee in the transporter machine. The transporter machine's working, and it got into the transporter machine. It's off of the ship.
And I'm
Oh my
watching it. and
God.
All that is happening.
Oh my God! No, it's instead of that.
Oh
but
my
as it
God.
as it
Normally
as it,
he's
as it-
lying, but July is absolutely telling the truth.
Hey,
right
you
Yeah,
prepared
no, the
everything.
Ripley
All the
did
times.
the Ripley did warp away, but as it warped away, it spit its nasty
Oh,
little acid spit into the air,
Right out of
and
its
it's
butt.
so
And
right
it
now
comes
it's
out of its butt.
flying
Yeah.
into the air, and it's going to land unfortunately on one of our games.
great.
Connor,
Dang it.
It's
Would you
somehow
mind-
stuck in animated suspension in the air
Yeah,
until
the spit is just no one touch it, no
I
one
guess
touch
this
it.
is better than when it eats it because I don't know. There's something fun about seeing like this, frozen acid in time. Well, Ripley, thankfully, like us, uses an RNG to figure out which game it's gonna destroy.
Yeah.
And so I've got a little RNG window. Where the hell did it go? Did I delete it? Like
Oh,
close
Ripley's
it?
gonna
acid
delete-
fell on.
Oh well, yeah.
oh, it's
Ripley
gone.
killed itself? Oh.
No, no.
All right, I'll pull up a random number
Ripley
generator
left us
again because I
a
closed
note.
my tab.
Ripley left a note.
Ripley
July,
left
read
a
the note. You have the note. Read it, July.
It says, "Don't do this part of the show."
Oh my God.
It's not me. It's the Ripley. The Ripley is the one
Dang it.
doing it.
I promise the RNG is just about to be up there.
Ripley doesn't.
And everyone
even
knows what a
know.
Ripley is,
Can
right?
you kind of explain what's been happening on these voyages?
It's the same as a brig. I'm pretty sure. It's just like colloquial term for brig.
Yeah, well, like in famously in the game Metroid, there's that the enemy that Samus is always fighting, Ripley.
And I'm
Ripley.
listening.
Half a Metroidvania,
And I am
yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all on our phones. Yeah.
All right,
I'm
well, we've
listening.
got the RNG up. Jeremy, let me know when you would like me to
Yeah.
click.
What does the Ripley do again?
The Ripley eats one of the games that we've picked.
This
So
time
we've
it's
already
just
picked.
spitting
That we've
acid.
already picked. Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah.
one unfortunate soul.
But I guess
we'll
the
have to
acid's just gonna
re-pick.
burn the game.
To quote
Right.
Ursula,
Ursula,
one
yeah.
unfortunate soul
All right, here we
will,
go.
will lose their game.
One,
and
two.
yep.
It's July. It's you. It's number 6.
No!
It's
What?
Tekken 3.
What? No.
Look at the. You see the Twitch
No.
right now.
I'm looking at it. It does say 6. Is that July? Oh boy.
Oh, July. I'm so sorry, buddy.
God.
It says 6, but I'm not 6.
You are 6.
Uh-oh. Space crazies.
That
That was the space sanest thing I've ever heard July say.
I hate seeing this happen. So Tekken 3 is gone. Well, there's always Tekken 2.
What's the number?
The number?
Yeah, what is the number? That the Ripley chose?
The Ripley chose number
6.
6.
But I'm number 2.
No, I know, but it chooses.
It's based on the order that we have
based on the
now.
order of.
What? That's crazy.
I know.
Well,
And we actually did get into a discussion about this on another episode.
Yeah,
And,
but I haven't been on these.
I know. Well, and to be, yeah, but the rule, it got concreted into what is that when it gets solidified? It gets solidified.
Okay, remind me how this part of the show is fun again.
How
We
it's
don't-
fun? It's
we
I
didn't-
mean, it's
we didn't ask
objectively
for
not.
Ripley.
It's fun for Ripley, I
So
guess.
Well,
I
the
think-
Ripley's gone.
You know
so
what
we can't
feels
ask
fair to me? It
Ripley.
feels July. You got a game taken. Why don't you just pick another one in its place? And that's what we'll do.
Is that part of the original rules?
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You pick another one.
Okay, well,
But
I'll
technically,
just...
you
And this
pick
one is
more.
safe though. This one is safe.
Yeah, this
Oh,
one's-
it won't get burned again or
Can't.
killed
because it's
or
only
aided?
by
Yeah,
round.
Ripley does it by round.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Ripley will be back.
Well,
I
we
don't
don't know.
Okay, you're just hypothetically saying that.
Yeah, if Ridley were to come back, it'd be on the next round.
Okay, and
It's
I'm
a
space,
chunky.
and I'm the one with space madness. Okay, I'm gonna choose Ape Escape.
Oh!
I guess my number one choice.
That's
And you
number
know
one.
what? It fits rightly so because
DualShock Pioneer.
yes, as Jeremy you mentioned earlier, Captain, this is the first game that kind of like really required the usage of the DualShock.
Yes.
For the PlayStation controller, and yeah, what more can you ask for? It's a fun platform game where you're trying to capture all these monkeys that are going to different parts of space and time. You know, space.
I'm familiar, yeah. I love Ape Escape. It's got such a colorful art style, which was not common for games at the time.
It's true. It's very colorful, very bright colors, a lot of cool like animation in it. Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
We love Ape Escape. McCollor, it's on to you. Round 2, second pick.
Well, I was gonna pick Ape Escape, but July, treat her well.
I will.
How many
Thank you.
daughters does he have?
Man of many daughters, I suppose.
Thank you, Don McCaller.
For my next pick, I'm gonna pick a game that I didn't play a ton of, but do like and would play forever and ever. I'm gonna take. Can't believe it's still on the board, honestly. Parappa the Rapper.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Hearn just shed a tear.
I shed a fucking tear. Dang.
I also can't believe that wasn't picked. Okay, so McCollor, tell us about Parappa the Rapper.
That it feels like a strong demo disc game for me. I feel like I played that Kick Punch It's All in the Mind song a lot. Never got good at it, but feel like I could play that game for the rest of my life and never get good at it, but still enjoy it. Listen, cute dog is Master's an Onion, kind of a Splinter-like figure, which I know Kristen's teacher didn't like, but
Yeah. Famously
Beyond
hated
that-
the game for that reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Parappa the Rapper is like, this is honestly a value pick. Like, I didn't expect it to drop this low, so seeing it there on the board, I had to grab it.
It's a great pick, and we're sad to see it
You're a good general
off
manager.
the table. Mikey Stephens.
Treat her well, McCollor.
Yeah, you're up. You're up.
Shoot, weird. This is a weird pick. 'Cause I guess it gets more
bad after this.
Well, kind of like personal. Like it's almost like what was your personal experience?
Yeah.
So that being said, it's between two games here. I'm gonna go with Tenchu 2.
Tenchu 2. Okay. Tell me about Tenchu 2.
Tenchu 2. I mean, Tenchu was
Stealth Assassins.
Yes. I don't know when the development started for the Tenchu games in general, but like for me, Metal Gear was the first stealth game, and then I felt like other games were like, oh, this is a thing, we can do this, and I think Tenchu was.
I feel like Tenchu might have come out first.
I don't think it did.
Tenchu 1 is
don't quote
98.
me.
Oh.
So it's the same year.
Same year.
So I don't know. Anyway, I just remember out of the two, I liked Tenchu 2 a lot more. So I think given that they had already made a game and that Metal Gear was out and maybe other stealth games that I don't know about had come out, it was just a more refined, cooler experience where you're a fucking ninja crawling on top of houses and creeping around and assassinating people. It was just, I just remember, again, it was like I had never played anything like that and spent a lot of time with Tenchu 2. So Tenchu 2 will be my second pick.
That's great. Yeah, I've never played this one. I played the first Tenchu, but I've never played the second.
Correct me if I'm
It's one
wrong.
of
Isn't there
those-
like a level editor in 2 that 1 didn't have?
They're fucking have been. Anytime I see anything like that, I'm like, not for me. But way too much work.
On the
I pay
stranded
you guys to
planet,
make
I'm
the
trying to give
levels.
you benefits.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm not doing your job. Thank you.
Did
but-
Tenchu 2 have Tenchu 1's all-time greatest mechanic of leaving a bowl of rice that made guys sick?
Oh God, probably. I don't remember
That was
that,
cool.
but
That was cool.
Sounds pretty good.
It's like a decoy rice.
Sounds really good.
it just seems like sometimes it's like more of the same, but more of the same is better kind of thing. And I just remember liking Tenchu 2 a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Incredible pick. July Diaz, you're up with your round 2.
Yeah, so it's gonna have to be between 2 picks, and so I'm gonna go with this acid burned copy of Tekken 3.
I'm just picking up the loose acid off the ground.
Yeah. I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing
All right.
gloves, but
All right, so what playable game are you
Safety
gonna pick?
first.
I will actually, and this was truly going to be my next pick, so it's really interesting, Mikey, that you chose Tenchu 2 and not Tenchu 1 because I picked Tenchu 1.
Tenchu 1.
Because that's the game I've spent a lot of time with. And I've played a little bit of Tenchu 2, but I just have this will be my nostalgia pick, so yeah, I just spent a lot of time with this game. The music's incredible. It was composed by a composer who's composed a lot of cool like anime music. And yeah, same thing you were saying, Mikey. It's like all the stealth mechanics in this is really awesome, and yeah, this is just a lot of fun. So Tenchu number 1 is my second pick.
Great pick. Man, wow, I can't. Both Tenchu's gone. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick a game that, the PS1 doesn't really have any good like Zeldas. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it has a few,
Do you
but it
mean
doesn't
Link?
have. Yeah, like games like Zelda. Like
They were exclusive to Nintendo.
right. That was a problem.
You could just kind of put like a green bandana on Solid Snake, and then
Yeah, you could pretend
Yeah.
he's Zelda, I
kinda Zelda.
guess. But there was
that
a
game
game
had
that's,
infinite ammo.
that's kind of like Zelda, and it's a game called Mega Man Legends. And that's the game I'm gonna pick.
Nicely done.
The first one?
The first one, yeah. So I a couple years ago played through and beat both of these games back to back, and I gotta say, even though people normally are like Mega Man Legends 2 that's the one, and Mega Man Legends 1 is like kind of crappy, I actually think that first one's better. But hey,
Dude,
just one person's opinion.
Jeremy, you
Sick,
did like write-ups on our Patreon about these games. You were
Yeah.
so inspired.
Yeah,
The only time we've ever had anything like that on the Patreon.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about Mega Man Legends 1? He takes off his helmet. What the heck?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a
That
real
is
Samus
crazy.
situation.
Is he a regular guy under there or what?
Yeah, he
What's
just got his
under there?
his like cool little anime hair under there.
That was I
He's a
rented
Danny
that game
man.
because of that. Because I was like, oh, okay, he's a person. I'm not playing as no robot.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
no
Okay,
traitor
Mega
to
Man, we
humanity.
gotta go to Dr. Wowie's castle.
Does this function like an action adventure?
Yeah.
Or it's okay.
It's a full action adventure with dungeons that you go complete
Yeah.
stuff in, and then there's a hub world,
It's
sort
a
of
third-person perspective.
third-person action adventure
It's
game.
like kind of a Z targeting thing for the shooting.
Z
too,
targeting
but-
thing, yeah. Mega Man Legends 2, I think why people like it as well is it does have the dual stick option where you can use the other stick as like the camera. But you know what? I feel like that actually gets in the way of the gameplay because it's so not refined yet that it ends up being more of a hassle.
I
Anyway,
rented Mega Man 64, which is the 64
that
port
is
of this.
Mega Man Legends, yeah.
And I was so confused. But I'm glad to hear it's good.
And honestly, can I be honest? I was too when I rented it as a kid. But when you're an adult, things make more sense suddenly. Okay, Connor, you're up. Second pick.
All right, my second pick. I'm gonna not overcomplicate things here. One of my favorite genres is of the Japanese role-playing variety, and I'm gonna take a game that I don't even think got fully finished, but did get released, and that's Xenogears.
Great.
Nice.
This is very much a Connor McCabe pick, where I've never touched it. I've only seen I've only seen tens of YouTube videos about people praising how good
Isn't
this
it like
game is.
40 hours of cutscenes mostly? Like it's
Could be.
The
Very
game is
long.
majority
Could be.
cutscenes.
Yeah. well, the first half is full game, and then the second half is like almost like crude drawing. Do you guys remember? Do you guys ever
Yeah.
watch? Yeah. You get it.
But yeah, this I love
What?
the look of this game.
So,
What the hell is
Are you talking
that?
about like in Bayonetta where it's like, we didn't animate this, so here's a slideshow. like,
Or
like
yeah,
that.
like
Okay.
what is it? Evangelion. Remember how that
Yeah.
show ended with just like drawings of stuff and just like voiceover?
Oh.
It's like kind of like that, where it's like they just couldn't. They didn't have the, I guess, resources to finish it.
They did that with the season 7 finale of The Blacklist during COVID, and so they just they did animatics for all the scenes and just had the actors separately record their lines from home.
That genuinely
Because-
rules.
Whoa.
I
I've
love
always
that.
said Xenogears is like the Blacklist of games, so
It's
this is
the
perfect.
season 7 finale of Blacklist
Yes.
of games.
But yeah, that's my pick. Xenogears.
Robert California.
Incredible pick. I love that. Kristen, you're up.
Oh man, I know everybody was clamoring for this one, so sorry again to take DDR third mix. Which was
Our escape pods do come with the dance pads too.
I was
yeah.
very glad you accounted for the accessories. This
They
one
finally got it right on that third mix, didn't they?
finally, yeah. So,
the opposite of console releases. The third mix
Yeah.
DDR best.
perfect. This one was actually a Japan only release, but the cabinets,
Ooh.
if you've ever played like a DDR, like the DDR cabinets are always marked what mix they are, and I love third mix because it's got Butterfly, it's got Captain Jack, it's got Boom Boom Dollar, it's got all the hits. So it
Wow.
just has like
I
my
know this
favorite
from
collection
Max.
of songs.
That's incredible.
The only home version of DDR that I was ever exposed to was someone had the dance pads and they had the Disney
The
DDR.
Disney mix it. That is a
Yeah.
big DDR pad behind me.
DDR.
It's like
Oh.
a metal. It's a
DD
metal one.
Mega Doo Doo.
Yeah, DD Mega Doo Doo third mix. Yeah.
It's so crazy. I didn't even consider DDR, but that is the only PlayStation 1 game that saved people's life. Like my video game friend Ian, like that was the only exercise he got his entire life.
Yeah.
Was DDR, and I think he would have probably passed away if it weren't for it.
Yeah.
Ian's
He was
are
like,
often
"Help
more.
me."
They're often more vulnerable than the rest of us to death.
And he was sick.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in the cool way though, like Nar.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
sick.
no, he was sick as hell.
It was fucking
Tony
cool
Hawk
as
Pro
hell.
Skater said, yeah.
Yeah, he had TB.
No
He
one's
was
ever
pretty
been
cool.
less cool than my friend Ian.
Saved his life.
Hearn, second pick. Knock knock.
Knock knock. Thank you. Hello. Open the door. I'm gonna take and look who it is. It's Crash Team Racing.
Whoa! The only good
Now that-
Crash game on the console?
Whoa. Yeah,
You
you're
know it.
right.
All right.
shots
All
fired.
right, Captain. Listen, I love you.
Yeah.
But you can't be saying things like that.
Yeah, there are a lot of more austere racing games on the PlayStation, and I'm not familiar with any of them. I'm familiar with Crash Team Racing, the kart racer that's trying to eat Mario Kart's lunch, and I would say does. I would say it's
Whoa!
closer to Diddy Kong Racing and what its like scale and like ideas are, and it's very fun.
I knew you'd be a Diddy Kong racing appreciator. That's
Yeah.
why we get
I
along.
love Diddy Kong Racing.
Can I draft Diddy Kong Racing?
Yeah,
just
can we
go
just?
ahead.
Yeah, is that allowed?
Let's not just pause and play some Diddy Kong
DD
Racing. We
Mega
also have a
Doo Doo
Nintendo
Kong Racing.
I gotta ask Hearn, who's your main?
Who's my main? I'm not sure. I haven't played it in a while.
Oh my
Probably the
god, he
Crash
doesn't know what
game.
he's talking
He
about. He's a
doesn't know.
poser.
McCabe pick.
Total
This is the
poser.
Crash
Oh my
I've-
god.
He's never
I've played
seen it
Crash
before.
Racing.
He doesn't know what a car is.
Oh my
Look at
God.
him.
I run around
Not-
everywhere. Yeah.
Not the polar bear, obviously.
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Is that like the Toad? Is he faster?
I don't know.
All right. See, he's
Crash
Toads
Team
are-
Racing and Diddy Kong Racing did. I feel like they had like mirror like rosters. It was like the upside down world versions. Of
Yeah.
There's like a little tiger in both. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evil Banjo is that polar bear?
Oh, good
I can
point.
see that is fair.
Charlie, double picks.
Baby.
Double picks.
Ooh, baby. Well, these two ones that I was planning to take next are both still on the table. So I am going to start with one of my favorite modern RPGs of all time, Parasite Eve.
Oh, that was gonna be my Connor McCabe pick.
Parasite Eve was
I guess
a game
me too.
that
Yeah.
blew me away because it had kind of a real-time battle system that would be kind of come back in Final Fantasy XII, in which you were free to move about the battlefield. But then when your active time meter filled up, you would go into a static mode, and then you would aim, and your ammo, because you were using guns, had a particular area of effect. A pistol's very small, shotguns a lot bigger, grenade launchers, spells. But what was really cool was the whole thing was set in New York City, and basically the idea is that this huge demon outbreak starts at the Metropolitan Opera House, and then you are tasked with investigating what happened, and you go to all these very cool locations, like the Central Park Zoo. All of the animals turned into monsters.
You go to the TNC Theater in the East Village.
Yeah, you go to the Theater for the New City, and
you go do
Carnegie
do
Hall
a set
and
at the
watch
Magnet.
ASCAT. Yeah. And then you go to Molly Malone's or whatever
Molly
it's
Wee's.
called at the Molly Wee at the end of the night. But yeah, it just made me like, because especially someone who grew up in Southern California, I was like, New York City, baby, it don't get any bigger
Big
than this.
Apple.
And yeah, it's music is great, atmosphere is awesome. They went for more of a real-time battle system in the second one, which I didn't like as much, and then by the third one, it's just fully a different. They didn't even have the license for Parasite Eve anymore, so they just call it the Third Birthday, and it's a PSP exclusive.
I do
but
love
yeah.
that name though.
Yeah,
I
the
do
Third
too.
Birthday.
That was
is-
interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Parasite Eve.
Charlie,
and-
can I just say this game scared the living shit out of me when I was a kid.
Interesting, because I was scared by Resident Evil.
Oh, I was scared by that too.
Okay.
I was scared by that too.
Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, but I mean, Parasite Eve, it gave me nightmares. The opening cinematics of this game. I think this game is a perfect video game. I love Parasite Eve, and I think that I would have definitely picked it had I not had Resident Evil 2 on my
The
list
CG
already.
like when the Opera House and everybody who's watching it basically transforms, bursts into flames and transforms. So good. I will share, Mikey, I realized that like part of my aversion to the Resident Evil series was the fact that like game confusion is where you're confused by a game when you're young that you won't understand until you're later, was the fact that starting Resident Evil 2, I tried to kill every single zombie in the streets. I just had no concept of the fact that there were enemies in a game that you weren't supposed to kill.
Yeah.
And that running around them, and the fact that I remember playing Resident Evil 1 and getting a little farther, and the knife was like pretty OP, and then it was totally nerfed for the sequel, and then being like, oh, I can't kill these zombies with the knife. So, yeah.
Incredible pick.
I had exactly that problem with Parasite Eve, where like I rented it early on, and I was like, "What do you mean I'm in a battle?" Like I didn't understand it, and it was like Mega Man Legends, where I was just like, "I guess this isn't a game that I'm allowed to play yet."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then. Oh no!
How is this already happening?
This is
Fucking Ripley.
madness. Are you kidding? Another Ripley? Seriously, folks, I did not see that coming. I thought we were free of these.
Oh no,
Ripleys
the
after
acid from before is reversing in time, and it's falling onto the new Ripley, and it's now the new Ripley's dead.
And I'm an expert on acid, and I can see that that's happening.
And that did happen, but just as that happened, the other Ripley spit a huge acid into the air, and it's flying through the air. We're all going, no. You know, we're all in slow motion currently.
And let's see what game it lands on. Oh, it lands on Parappa. Oh no, yeah, Parappa the Rapper.
Oh no,
Parappa the
number 8.
Rapper.
Ripley rolled an 8.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Parappa. No, I'm giving it one of these. No.
This is one of those, like, the GM had to draft that player. They were on the board. They get immediately injured. And so the GM's like, gotta give me another year. I got another draft.
It's terrible when this happens. We hate these Ribleys. Gosh, I wish they'd leave us alone. Okay, McCollor, what's your replacement pick?
Let me plug that hole with... Oh, wow. I can just take a game, huh? Let's go Tomb Raider 1.
Ooh. 1? Oh, my goodness.
What is the... This is a retroactive pick?
Okay.
I didn't... Tomb Raider 2 was the one I played a lot of.
Yes.
When I actually had a PlayStation, but I bought that Switch re-release of Tomb Raider games and played Tomb Raider 1 for the first time. That game's good. That game's like well designed, like puzzle wise, and not anything else wise. like in terms of like, in a way that like Tomb Raider 2 is obtuse, and you're doing a lot of like, how was I supposed to know that? Like Tomb Raider 1 is always like, oh, this is the area I kind of vaguely know to go towards. I see what I'm doing here. It's very intuitive. Yeah, Tomb Raider 1 fucking rules.
Oh man, you can't go to the house though, right? Is that in 2? You don't want to go trap the butler in the freezer? No? Okay.
I want my butler to live.
Tomb Raider, not House Raider.
You don't want to jump in your pool?
It's so true. That is so true, Chef. Yes, Chef.
Yes, Chef. Yes, and thank you, Chef. Okay.
Everyone loves the captain, but yes, Chef.
Yes, Chef.
Charlie, why don't you get us started on our 3rd round, baby?
Guys, I have not heard anyone pick a shooter yet. An actual first-person shooter, and I will say that this is one that launched a franchise that may not be with us today, but was pretty big at one time. I'm going to take Medal of Honor.
Oh!
And
the first Medal of Honor.
The first Medal of Honor.
Spielberg.
I kind of remember this.
And it basically was Steven Spielberg produced it, and the score, which sounded very John Williams like, was one of the first scores by one Michael Giacchino, who would go on to do so much. Lost, and the all of J.J. Abrams stuff, basically.
And directed Werewolf by Night.
And it is basically was the console's answer to GoldenEye. It was the first that kicked off the World War II genre of shooters that kind of dominated for a while. It was the king until Call of Duty came along, and Call of Duty kind of surpassed it in many ways. But I remember just its sense of atmosphere. There is a kind of Papers, Please mission, the 3rd mission. I thought it was so refreshing that you were heading through a building behind enemy lines, and instead of pulling out your gun, you can only pull out your papers. And so you have to encounter lots of Nazi guards and show them your papers, and then they let you pass, and then eventually one gets suspicious, and it starts the whole shooting thing. So very atmospheric, lots of like taking down U-boats. It had many different objectives that you had to complete, similar to GoldenEye. Lots of secrets, lots of unlocks, plus it had a multiplayer suite that was comparable. There was a sequel, Medal of Honor Underground, where you're playing as a member of the French Resistance, that I also liked, but I think playing as one of the good old boys in blue from the old US of A, and at that time, especially after having seen Saving Private Ryan and being like, wow, World War II, we were the good guys, and we've always been the good guys.
And always will be. And always will be. Yeah. That's an important thing that we want listeners to maybe take away from this episode.
Yes, this is my endorsement of war and America's role in it.
Round of applause. Who likes war?
Woo!
Okay. Medal of Honor.
We know what it's good for.
We know what it's good for. Hearn.
Wow.
Hernsey.
Composer did Coco, If, and Doctor Strange. I'm just yeah.
Michael Giacchino?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As in imaginary friend?
As in,
I think he did he did a lot. He did a lot of the Pixar's Incredibles.
Yeah.
Up. He did that very famous Up.
Yeah, Up.
Score.
Speaking of Pixar,
we
Michael
love Up.
Hearn.
Up? If? How about not?
I think Deadpool's in that movie, right?
In If, yeah, he's in.
Yeah, Deadpool's in If, right?
He's an imaginary
I
friend.
couldn't really see liquid in that glass, so in my mind, you're just sitting in an empty glass.
Deadpool's in that.
Deadpool's in that,
is
right?
It is empty.
Hearn.
For dramatic
Oh
effect.
man,
Alright.
so funny.
All right, I'm gonna do one of the famous collections that are available on
What?
the PlayStation 1. That's
Oh,
multiple
no.
discs. I'm gonna have to squeeze it in the one disc designed slots, but I'm gonna do it for Final Fantasy Chronicles, the one with Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger with anime cutscenes. I had this. This was how I played Chrono Trigger for the first time, and it's a good package. It's great. Those are two good, solid JRPGs. They're very lengthy. Lots of replay value for Chrono Trigger for sure.
Yeah, man. So you got 4 and then Chrono Trigger, and I guess there was another one that had 6 and 5. Is that
5
how it
and
went?
It's
6.
anthology.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Anthology is the other one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
And then
they
last
put 6
time-
first in the jewel case for some reason.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And you're sure, Hearn, that you don't want to take Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles?
No, that would be for GameCube.
GameCube.
We're drafting that.
Okay. It's your last chance.
I mean,
And also-
Her, we will
Multiplayer,
allow it
so-
just this once if you want to take
Thank you.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles
As
instead.
tempting as that is, no, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm
Okay.
gonna go with this one.
Well, that's a great pick. I never had any of these. I was always so jealous of my friends who did. Okay.
I couldn't go back. I was like, I've seen the light of the 3D,
Mm-hmm.
the chibi style. I'm like, I gotta 3D till I die. Now
Yeah.
I
What
go
am I
back
supposed to
to
do with these little characters? Wipe all their
Yeah.
butts and change their diapers because they're so little?
Yeah.
All right,
That's
Kristen,
what I
you're
was
up.
wondering.
Burn.
Well, I am going to take the most prolific tactics game on the PS1, which is Rhapsody: A Musical Adventure. Which, if you haven't played, I genuinely love it. It is
I
like
have no idea what it is.
We were
it's
just
like
talking
baby's
about
first
this.
Yeah, I talked about it on the dating game episode, the video game dating game, excuse me. But it's a tactics game, but it's like a good like baby's first tactics. It's very simple, like easy, not a lot of grinding, and it is a full-blown musical. It was published by Atlas, and it has like full musical numbers in it. Like it's a cutscene runs, and it's a full song.
Wow.
It's super like corny and campy, and I love that kind of shit. And the songs in it are really fun, and it has really dumb humor. It's so much, and it also has the worst sound effect for a dragon that I've ever heard in my whole life, which I can only tell you. You have to look it up yourself because it's a heinous sound effect that somehow made it into a game.
Kind of, yeah. I'm listening to it now. It kind of sounds like what those Ribleys make. when
It's
they come on
yeah,
the
some-
Oh no.
maybe there's a connection there. But yeah, I'm also always advocating for people to play it. If you like campy stuff, you gotta play Rhapsody: A Musical Adventure. I finally got somebody to do it recently, and they loved it. So take my word and his word.
Well, you
I'm
had me
interested.
until you said dumb humor. I only like smart humor.
Okay.
You know,
Take a sip of that
it's
drink
smart.
again.
Take a sip of your.
Yeah.
Very British. Yeah, he only likes that British
Mhm.
comedy. All right. Well, Kristen, that sounds like. I mean, to be honest, I haven't even seen a single frame of this game, but I can't wait to kind of give it a nice Google after this. But Connor
Yeah.
McCabe,
Captain, I went into your room the other night and you had this on. What are you talking about?
well, why don't you shut up? How about that? Why don't you be quiet? Leave my secrets alone. Connor, you're up. Third pick. Metal Gear and Xenogears. Jeesh, a lot of gears going on in there.
Geared up.
And that's why I'll take Gears of War 3.
Whoa, that had to come out in this.
If you
We
thought
didn't know the PlayStation could do it, but it did.
and I'm
Pulled
putting
it
an
off.
Xbox 360 disc in my PlayStation 1. If you thought that my last pick was a Connor McCabe pick, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is not only a Connor McCabe pick. This is a Connor McCabe meets Michael Hearn pick. I am taking the somewhat life simulation summer vacation game Boku no Natsuyasumi. Jeremy.
Oh
do you
yeah,
remember
yeah,
this
yeah,
game?
yeah. This is this is the game that
classic.
Tim Rogers did a big.
This is a Japanese-only game. So I'm gonna have to.
Japanese.
I'm gonna have to
I
learn
love
Japanese.
Tim Rogers.
He did like
I
an.
remember this one.
It's like an 8-hour.
But I'll let you take it.
Video on this game of you playing as this little like, I don't know, 8 or 9-year-old boy and spending summer vacation with your family and having like limited.
I did watch his entire video essay on this. This is ringing a bell now.
It sold me so hard on this game. The game is gorgeous. It's unlike really anything that I've ever played. You have a limited amount of time to spend your recreation, to get to know your family, to get in trouble, to
Just like in real life.
just like in real life. And if I want a semblance while I'm off in space in my escape pod of what it was like to be back home when I was, you know, an 8-year-old Japanese boy, this is gonna do it for me.
And canonically, you are Japanese.
And you have just raised your hand, Connor. Did you have a question?
I didn't, but it did put me at the front, didn't it? It auto detects that. And okay, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boku no Natsuyasumi.
I'm proud of you for taking this. I hope. I just pray that you can find an English patch. I pray you can find an English patch.
Me
Or
too.
learn how to learn Japanese on your time.
Or that. Or that. Okay, look, I've been kind of avoiding this because my 2 favorite Final Fantasies got picked already, and Parasite Eve got picked. But I can't leave this episode without a Square game. I gotta get a Square game.
I like round games.
And
Yeah, we like round games.
well, yeah, I'm talking about the company. Let's see here. How about? And I do like this game. I love it. I'll just say I love it. Final Fantasy IX. I love it.
Oh.
My favorite Charlie XCX song.
Jeremy, you love it. Final
I
Fantasy
love
9,
it.
you love it.
I actually love it. I do. I love Vivi.
What's your favorite part?
My favorite part is when our Vivi finds out his past. Do you guys know this game?
No.
It breaks your heart. It'll leave you in tears. Not a dry eye in the house when
Okay.
this game's on. Yeah, great characters. Great. Honestly, I think the only reason why this game didn't have a bigger impact is because Final Fantasy VII got there first. But I think this game potentially could have had a huge impact, and it kind of did. I replayed it on the Switch. Great way to replay it, by the way.
Well, it tried to go back to the traditional, like you had your knight and your mage and your, you know, like your kind of archetype characters.
Yeah,
I was a huge fan. Well, I won't say. Never mind.
Yeah, this game falls apart only at the very, very end, though. And a lot of these games fall apart much earlier than that.
Yeah,
so.
because your disc was scratched.
Yeah, and this is, by the way, 4 discs, so you know it's better than Final Fantasy VII because it has an extra disc.
Jared, there have been rumors
8 has 4 too.
Of a remake for this game for a while. Still unconfirmed, but it's possible.
It would be great. I do think it is awesome. I think, you know, like the other one that hasn't been picked here is 8, obviously. And I think that
obviously
I like them in that order, 7, 9, 8. That's what I'm saying. July. It's back to you, baby.
I'm going to choose a survival horror game that has not been chosen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of similar in the vein of a Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of a quiet game.
And a sort of a mountainy game.
Yes.
Well, smaller than a mountain, but
smaller than a mountain,
much
but
smaller.
yeah, it's Silent Hill.
Oh,
Original Silent Hill.
Konami.
Have you played this?
I have played this. I've never beaten the game because when I played it as a youth, it was too scary.
Too scary.
It's too scary to continue.
Thank you.
I know that like first area so well before you get to the school, and then past that, I don't have any memories of
scary.
it. Yeah, it's too scary. But I've seen
scary.
playthroughs of it later in life, and maybe one day, maybe as soon as we put these in the pods, I'll get through.
You should definitely turn this on. Yeah, this one's it's a good one. Yeah. I got pretty far in it once, and honestly, too scary.
It's too scary.
Too scary.
Mikey Stephens, third pick. You got Final Fantasy Tactics and Tenchu 2. Interesting list so far.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep leaning into personal because all the good stuff's gone. So, for me and my time with the old PlayStation, there was one game that me and my brother came close to. Well, we fought. We got into actual wrestling matches over, and that would be NFL Blitz.
Oh,
NFL
sure,
Blitz,
yeah.
Was a very
Blitz was
silly
so good.
take on football, if you can call it that. Where you could like suplex somebody after you tackled them, and you would run into almost what's that? The Dynasty Warriors. What's that?
Yeah,
genre
Dynasty
called?
Warriors.
Muso.
Yeah. It was like Muso football,
Frank.
basically, where
Muso
you
Franks.
could just plow through an entire defensive line, and people would just literally fly and stuff. A great time. The NBA jam of the NFL, if you will. NFL Blitz will be my pick.
That's a great pick. We love football.
Oh, brother.
We like football. All
Yeah,
right. McCollor, double picks.
Oh, I'm nervous. I don't know what I want anymore.
I know, it's getting tough.
Addressing the elephant in the room, I can't take the original Resident Evil.
Why?
Why?
Because looking at it on my shelf, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 3, it's
I
just
know, it's gonna drive you
basically me
crazy.
picking the fact that I don't have Resident
Oh,
Evil
I
2.
see.
Can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
do it. I will take.
But wait, director's cut doesn't it have a little bit of 2 in
A
there?
Resident Evil 2 demo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
No.
interesting. You could put that next
But
to
is it the same?
Yeah, is the demo the same as the full game?
It's like having a voicemail from your dead relative. It's like it's just a little snippet of them, and it again almost reminds you more of their absence than it does
God,
soothe their loss.
love your metaphors tonight.
Yeah. I have a
through
business. I
some
actually have a
stuff.
business where I sell dead relatives voicemails to people.
Yeah, they're all from Ian.
I have a business too, and I'm selling tea, and it's the tea leaves. And where are all the tea leaves in the pot?
Inside the tea?
tea.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna take Siphon Filter.
What?
Nice.
That's crazy. You don't want that.
No, I do. I got this game for Easter.
The bunny
and
gave
it's
it
cool.
to you?
The Easter Bunny gave it to me, yeah, with a bunch of candy and a basket that he hid.
Awesome.
It's like a
this
more
game's cool.
arcadey Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
The main character has the worst run animation in the history of games. It looks like he's shit his pants. It's sort of like saggy and drooping. But I don't know. It had a very cool like flak jacket system as opposed to like a health system. So if you ran into an enemy who had the same flak jacket as you had as much health as they did, which I always like was like a weird tick I had in games. Why do I have so much health and these guys don't? If you were aiming at them and you were going to get a headshot, the word headshot would like appear on the screen. I don't know. It was cool. A lot of arbitrary. It was like the good kind of spy stories where people are turning on you for no reason. One level you have to wear a tuxedo and sneak through a dinosaur museum. It's just a cool game.
That's interesting. I think I've played this game before.
The PSP has a really good one, Logan Shadow.
Is this who made Siphon Filter? Was it Ubisoft?
989 Studios.
Oh
yes.
Oh.
They
Yeah.
also made the Cool Borders. Yeah.
Yeah, and baseball, right?
Yes.
Did they do
made
baseball?
baseball.
All
They
they do
made
now is
baseball.
baseball, right? I don't know.
Interesting. Oh, crud. Look, I don't know how you guys are feeling. I'm getting sick of these guys.
Tired of it. It's almost like you're in control of them.
How could you say that? How could
That's our
how
captain
dare
you're
you say
talking
that?
about.
That's
Yeah,
very
I'm
apt
the captain
observation
here.
from
You
the
think-
therapist.
I do not condone the behavior of these Ribleys. They are spitting acid and currently have
sure
spit.
about that?
and currently has spit an acid into the air. Connor McCabe.
No.
Who's getting burned?
Let's see what the Ribley's RNG is this time, and it is number 1, Charlie. Say goodbye to Medal of Honor. The spit has bounced on and disintegrated your disc.
Medal of Honor is
Medal of
gone.
Honor.
Honor McCabe.
Honor McCabe.
Press F to Hunter McCabe.
Okay, well, goodbye, Medal of Honor. I am going to pick a game that I need to have a little bit of a something that's a bit of a palate cleanser, challenging, a little platforming adventure that has great animation and was kind of the pinnacle of the series on the PlayStation. Because somebody said that there was one good Crash game on the system, but I am going to take Crash Bandicoot Warped, which is Crash 3.
Oh, Crash Warped. Tell me why.
Yes,
Love
Crash
Warped.
Bandicoot Warped is great because it takes the Crash Bandicoot formula and expands it. It makes the levels more expansive. It adds in vehicle segments, more so like planes and jet skis and all sorts of stuff. I think they really dialed up the humor, and you kind of could feel that they were pushing towards the next gen in gaming by the time that 3 came out, where they were like, oh, we've now, like, Naughty Dog fully understood what the PlayStation was capable of and was able to kind of tap it to its max with that. It's just a lot of fun to play. Like, going back and playing the original Crash, you can tell how limited it was in scope. But Crash 3 does cool things where it switches the perspective on you sometimes. It'll switch it to kind of 2D, and then it'll go back to 3D. More interesting dynamic locations. Yeah, it's fun.
It's my favorite Crash.
Wow, Crash Warped. Your favorite Crash too, huh,
I
Connor?
think me too.
Yeah,
Everybody's liking Crash
outside
Warped.
of Team Racing. Yeah, it's Warped for me too. Yeah.
I think I like 2 better, but 3 is like objectively better.
I've always heard 2 is the king. People always
he also
cite
has
it.
that cool jacket on the cover.
Yeah.
It was the one that gave me my PlayStation.
And I think it's like, for me, this isn't on PlayStation, I don't think, but I was going to pick David Cronenberg's Crash. But I think I have to go with Crash Bandicoot Warped, yeah.
Which means that David Cronenberg's Crash is still on the table.
On the table.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to take,
You're not
and
gonna
then
want-
Paul
I mean,
Haggis's
everyone's-
Crash is also on the
It's
table.
also on the table too.
Caller,
If
I
anybody
mean, you're up. Do you want one of those?
Guys,
Yeah.
don't sweat it. There's a Laserdisc player in everyone's escape pod with copies of Crash.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Everyone gets a copy of both Crashes.
All
Yeah,
movies
on
titled
Laserdisc.
Crash.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, McCollor, you got your double pick.
Okay, it
There's
feels like I'm
also,
getting 3 because I
there's
got
also
2 copies of
room for,
Crash.
Dave Matthews Band.
Oh yeah, the
Little
Dave Matthews
Crash
Band
into
Crash. Yeah.
Crash into me.
Yeah. And
Okay,
Crash.
well, if I've got all the Crashes and the Crushes taken care of, I will choose Final
Crash
Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Oh, I love that for you.
That makes sense.
And
Comes
again,
with the
this
Game
is
Boy.
this is a game for the GameCube.
Yeah.
Which is
No,
not on
I'm just
the,
kidding. I can't pick a GameCube game. That's against the rules.
It is the
And-
only one allowed.
And that's my thing, is the rules.
That is.
So I will take a Final Fantasy, though. This is a Connor McCabe pick. Never touched this game, but I will take Final Fantasy VIII.
Ooh.
I will say that is a very good choice. I forced myself to, when I was like 22, I bought this for $5 at Best Buy, and because I had played it when it first came out, and because it wasn't like Final Fantasy VII, I turned it off. But then when I sat and played through the entire thing, I had so much fun with it. Once I learned the junctioning system, once I learned how it worked, I also really enjoyed the story. There is a
that
very
the one with the seeds? The
Yes.
seeds?
Yes.
Seed.
Yeah.
and the different
I remember
schools that are traveling, they're called gardens, and they fly. They're flying schools, and they go to war with each other.
Durmstrang.
Yes, and
I couldn't think of any other Harry Potter
whatever.
schools, but that was already
yeah.
pretty
Oh,
Is
I
it Beau
would say.
Beau something? The French
Beau
one.
Beaubaton.
Bo Burnham.
Beaubaton.
You're thinking of Bo
Beau-
Burnham.
Beau- Yeah, I'm thinking of Inside.
McCollor, I'll say this too to add on to what Charlie's saying. I think the music. This is maybe even a hot take. I think it rivals Final Fantasy VII's music.
Yeah.
I think it's almost as good.
Well,
There is, and there's something that I don't think the PlayStation, I knew it was capable of, but there is a part in which you are trying to get from point A to point B, and you are encountering enemies as you go, and in the background, they have blended your sprites into CG in the background of a full-on battle taking place. So you are seeing
Whoa.
people dying,
Yeah.
you're seeing, like, explosions going off, and you're running through and, like, encountering enemies as you go, and this is all happening in the background. And I remember just thinking, like, this is insane that they were able to
Wow.
pull this off. Yeah.
It's
That
like you're
sounds
walking
cool,
through
yeah.
a 7-Eleven.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, because all the sprites are in the background. Anyway,
Oh,
It took me a minute. But...
I didn't get that at all, and then now I do.
Well, no, I didn't get it until he explained it. So yeah, I guess it took
Now
me
I
a little
love
more.
it.
Now I
Now play
actually-
Rhapsody of Musical Adventure.
Yeah, now I like it. Now I like it a lot. Okay.
All the sprites are in the background.
How
We
many
all know what a
sprites?
brig is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love that pick for
Good
you,
pick.
McCollor. Mikey Stephens, you're up.
All right, brother. I got the American list for the real Americans out there.
American list.
Yeah, that's right. Final Fantasy Tactics, American.
Uh-huh.
Tenchu 2,
Tenchu
American.
2, yeah.
And then you got football, Blitz,
NFL Blitz, American enough to cover.
Okay. Yeah, that's the least American on my list, but we'll let it slide.
NFL Blitz Euro.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep going with the games that it's just looking like, well, I guess without tactics. Anyway, who cares? I'm picking Cool Borders 2.
Hey!
Cool Borders 2. Cool
love
Borders
Cool
2.
Borders
989
too.
Studios pick on this list.
I'm sorry, but in this house, we love it.
I think there was 2 like infamous snowboarding games.
1080
There was
snowboard.
1080.
Snowboard kids.
There was 1080 for sorry, Kristin, that one.
Oh, that's the second one.
Fantasy 7, yeah.
1080 if you were a 64 person, and Cool Borders 2 if you had PlayStation, and I think there was a third Cool Borders on PlayStation.
They did do it.
There
3,
was.
I think.
Well, I think it was a different team. I feel like a lot of games in the PlayStation era would have two games by the same developer, and then the third one was when things get wonky.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Twisted Metal was like that.
Twisted Metal,
I do remember.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
I don't know
I
why
have no
in
idea.
my head. Maybe that was the one we had. It could be as simple as that.
I
We
think
had
Cool Borders was
2.
like the one. Their two
Yeah.
was like the one, you know?
Yeah, that was the one I remember having and spending the most time with. And honest
The
to
one
God,
thing
out
that
of the
1080
two,
had on it was the fact that when you were picking your character, they were all over the chalet. And so I remember you switching between them, and one would be like sitting by the fire, and
yes,
another one
like
would
in
be
the
upstairs leaning
hotel,
out.
in the
Yes,
like,
and
cabin.
Yeah,
I remember
great character select.
that. Was
screen.
fucking great.
One
Yeah,
of the,
I was
you know-
literally just about to say, out of the two, that is the better. That is the superior snowboarding game.
Well,
But
and
I
let's not
didn't have a
forget about
64.
Snowboard Kids. That is
Yeah.
actually the best one of all. So
Of
Or the
course.
snowboarding mini game in Final Fantasy VII.
yeah,
Sonic
that's pretty good
Adventure.
too.
And I had this game called Ski, and you just skied.
Doing
It
Ski
wasn't
free?
actually snowboarding.
With the
Ski
Yeti.
free. It was
Yeah.
called
The-
Ski
yeah.
Free
Be free.
on PC, and it wasn't snowboarding.
Rare.
Yeah,
there was a
PC
Yeti.
game supremacy.
Yeah.
PC Master Race.
That was
Ski
really
Free.
the prototype dog jumping through the window when you were attacked by the Yeti in Ski
Yeah,
Free.
What the fuck is that?
It's scary.
Yeah.
The original
And
Mr. X.
impossible to. You can't beat him.
You can't beat the
him.
Yeti.
Oh, it's Lovecraftian.
And
You can only look into his eyes and know madness.
I think that's what happened in July. Lovecraft stuff.
I played Ski Free like I could beat the Yeti, and you can't beat the Yeti.
They still on here all night?
Ski Free, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Ski
still.
Free.
They're crushing.
yeah, they won't leave.
Anyways,
July,
Cool
you're
Borders
up.
2.
Cool Borders 2, great choice. I love the sports game representation on here. July,
I'll bring it.
Ape Escape, Tenchu, Silent Hill. What's gonna complement that? What's your like side salad to these games?
So this also kind of ties into Mikey's pick, because he picked the game that had a lot of snow in it, and I'm picking one of the worst games of all time, and it's called The Grinch.
Hell yeah, man.
Is this real?
I love The Grinch as a character.
Gotta look this up.
I love The Grinch.
This is real, and this is primarily based off of like Jim Carrey's version of The Grinch.
So it's like a relatively late in the PlayStation's
Yes.
life. Okay.
Came out in 2000.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Wow.
I got this copy. I think I rented it from Blockbuster a few times. It was so hard because the gameplay was just like, it's a platformer, and it was so buggy that it's impossible, like the timing to like do certain kind of when you're grabbing onto a ledge and then your character starts to spin, and you kind of have to like time it so like that your elevation's like fast enough to grab onto the next ledge. It had so much of that bullshit in it.
Oh man, I'm looking this up. This is the ugliest looking game I've ever seen in my life.
It's very ugly.
I love imagining the Grinch as like a gymnastics level. Like
there's so much of that in the game.
Prince of Persia style, like
There's a little pop.
Yes.
He's just like,
Yeah.
I will say this Grinch
Swinging on
character
shit.
model is pretty good.
Well,
Yeah.
you might. Are you sure? Are you looking at the same one I'm looking at?
Maybe the Grinch PS1.
Yeah, Grinch PS1.
Yeah, I mean that
Uh,
looks like the Grinch.
He
That's him.
he has a move where he just like burps onions on the Whoville villagers. And,
I actually have that move.
Honestly, that character model is really not bad. Yeah. The face is well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
That's
I
where
just
the budget went, was
remember
getting the Grinch to look right.
I just remember loving the Jim Carrey movie so much that I was like, oh, I'm gonna
It's a
love
good
this
one.
game.
I did really like it.
it's a
Well, I
great
guess I won't
movie.
get to pick this game.
And it didn't live up to the expectation, but I have a lot of nostalgia for it, so that's why.
I just
Kind of a nostalgia pick, eh?
Ooh, Retronaut says you're a dull one, Mr. Grinch, in their review of this movie.
Yeah.
Of this game, sorry.
that burn.
All right.
So that's my pick, The Grinch.
I love that pick. I love that for you. I would like to have, I guess, a racing game. So there's a couple different ways that I can go with this, and I think I'm gonna go with Wipeout 3.
Do 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 do.
Anyone ever played Wipeout? Anyone ever played
Yeah,
these games?
absolutely.
They're great. There's like
You seen
they're
this?
like
You heard about this?
F-Zero,
the PS4.
Well, this looks sick.
X-Gen, F-Zero. Yeah, very hover cars. That's cooler than regular cars, right?
Hover cars? Yeah, they're hovering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cars
they're
don't
better.
hover.
Dude,
better.
we're basically in a hover car now. We're in the spaceship.
That's true. That's true.
There's a
Um,
really good
like
PSP Wipeout.
yeah.
Wipeout Pulse, I think it's called.
Wipeout 3. Wipeout 3. Yeah, I guess I want that. Okay, Connor, you're up.
I'm going to pick one of those games that one of my friends had on those PS1s that I'd play over at his house. A game that scared me, but I was incredibly intrigued by. A game that I have today and have played most of, and that's going to be the cinematic platformer Heart of Darkness.
Ooh.
That's another Hearn pick.
It
Connor.
is.
Very good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's, this game has like some of the worst opening cutscene, like 3D animation you've ever seen. But the gameplay is really great. The animation is gorgeous. In the game itself, it looks like beautiful, like hand-drawn 2D art. And it's it's very Jeremy, it's very much like Out of This World or Another World, where the kid gets sort of transported to some dark world where he's got to escape. And it's great.
It's
Yeah,
about
this
the
is
same
great.
cover of Out of This World.
Yeah, it's got that Abe's Odyssey thing going on with
Yeah,
it.
similar style of game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I own a hard copy of this.
Dude,
for some
really?
reason. Yeah.
Me
yeah,
too.
I own this
My
one.
gosh.
It's a rad game.
Heart of Darkness. Okay, Kristin, fourth pick?
Yeah, well, since we lost Parappa the Rapper and Medal of Honor, which we've talked about is like a cinematic, lots of ties to movies, I'm gonna get us one game that will replace both of them in the same vein. Spice World.
Whoa!
Which is a rhythm game that was like critically panned as being a bad version of Parappa the Rapper, but based on the movie Spice World, and has a bunch of Spice Girls songs. There's not much more to say about it. Other than that's what it is.
Is it a rhythm game or is it a platformer?
It's literally like a Parappa the Rapper game, but it's just Spice Girls instead.
Oh man, and I love the graphics in this game. I actually love these character models. Yeah, they look like Bratz dolls. Yeah.
So Kristin, one of the two friends' houses, not the Heart of Darkness friend, I'll call him the A Bug's Life friend. He sometimes before school we'd watch two movies. We'd either watch or one of two. We'd watch either the Power Rangers movie or we'd watch Spice World, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, so I've seen that movie a million times but never played the game.
Well, now you know what you gotta do. Get this game with 5 songs in it and
play
it to your heart's desire.
5 whole songs?
Five
Nice.
songs?
I'm pretty sure it has 5 songs.
Do you remember which song? I got to imagine
I
one.
would have took one.
Let's see. I have the wiki up. Let's see.
There's some Smash Mouth
It's
on
got,
there.
Oh, there's more than 5.
that. Yeah,
It's got 8. Yeah, it's got Wannabe, Say You'll Be There.
Games were getting away with
you think you
murder in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, just
Spice Up
put
Your Life.
8 songs on this and call it a day.
Move over.
Oh, and
To Become
right
One.
before it was released, Jerry Halliwell left the Spice Girls, which led to concern by Sony that Spice World would have to be pulled or revised. The company was later given permission by Halliwell's lawyer to proceed with the game 2 weeks before its scheduled release.
Imagine leaving the Spice Girls and being like, "You got to take me out of the game."
Yeah.
you can't put Spice World for the PS1 out.
It's 4 Spice Girls and crashed Bandicoot dancing along with it.
It's funny that because it just got like critically drummed and like won worst game of 97, 98, and then
It won the worst game in 2 years in a row? Is that bad?
Yeah. Entertainment Weekly was like B-, not bad.
They weren't even reviewing games back then. Wow, Kristin, I love this. I love this list. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's looking pretty.
So much music.
What's the word where it's like varied?
Eclectic.
Electric.
Interesting.
It's
Remember when
eclectic.
Bob Dylan went
Woody.
eclectic? Okay.
metric.
Hearn, you're up.
I would watch a whole movie seeing whether or not Bob Dylan was going to go
Eclectic.
Whether or not he would go.
Whether or not. Yeah, it could go either way.
I wrote. All right, I'm going to do something no one else on this game this round has done and pick a Squaresoft game. And I'm going to pick Front Mission Free.
Whoa!
Of course, which is going to get a remake soon that I'm looking forward to very much.
Yeah. Have you played those other remakes, Hearn?
I have not. I played Front Mission 1 on the DS, and that seemed pretty good, but I have not played like the 1 or 2 remakes that recently came out. But Free, I have a physical copy of for PlayStation 1, and it's always been a favorite PlayStation game of mine. It's a really cool tactical RPG where you design your own mechs, and they're built kind of Armored Core style where you design everything about them. And then the story mode is really nifty. It has a lot of like internet-based sleuthing and like cyber hacking stuff that it's like kind of of its time.
Is it like
90s.
Advance Wars? Is that kind of the
it's
battle
kind of in
style?
that vein of like it's not far off from like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a grid system, it's turn-based, it's all that stuff, but it's got like you design your own mech characters, and the series is kind of like this. I feel like Free is like the best. I feel like it's the more advanced than the previous 2.
It's cool.
I haven't continued the series after that, but from what I can tell,
What's it called?
Front Mission 3. It's cool. This is a badass series. Everyone should look this up. Especially like the SNES ones were cool too. Like these are cool games.
Yeah, and those weren't. This was the first one released in the U.S. too. Like those were never ported over to the U.S. and so PlayStation people just got Front Mission Free, and we just had to roll with it. But it was
deal with it.
We just got dropped into the middle. But it's a real dope game. I recommend it.
I love that. Charlie, 4th pick and double picks, getting us into our final round.
So I'm going to pick a game. This one is very much a personal pick of mine. I don't know if anyone even remembers this game, but the game it's a kind of it's not necessarily an isometric shooter. It changes the perspective on you a lot, but the game is called One.
Ooh,
and
I remember this.
Spelled like the number?
Yes, O-N-E, and it is basically you're a guy who finds himself being hunted, and you have like an arm cannon that as you shoot and the more stuff you destroy, the more powerful your gun gets, and you get this like rage that builds up, and it's like a lot of really cool cinematic moments where there's parts where you're like running past windows as a helicopter is shooting through it as you're running past and trying to, there's some platforming elements to it, but it's mostly just like a big crazy run and gun shooter.
That's very cool.
There's a scene like that in the opening of Tekken 3, by the way.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
Spice World
because I couldn't pick
Yeah,
Tekken
Spice
3.
World.
I just really wanted something with a scene like that in it.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. I've
It's
never
a-
played this,
yeah.
but it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool because the shooting is very visceral. Lots of explosions, lots of stuff like that. Stuff that I'm into.
Oh no!
Explosions! Why did you have to say explosions?
Well-
anyways, this is our fourth and final Ribley. I'm so sorry, folks. Next ship that we build, we're gonna have that thing Ribley tight. Okay.
What happened to like the extra layer of?
Well, I thought we
shield?
had at least like a 7-layer thing going, like a 7-layer dip shield or something, but it ended up being 2.
And then, hey, at least on the bright side, we know that
One per
Ripley's get
wrench.
full after 4 games, so it's not coming back.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ripley's, believe it or
100%.
not.
I'll go ahead and I'm looking at the Ripley's RNG right now, and
Who's getting
once
it?
again, Michael McCollor.
Oh,
my
no!
God.
Final Fantasy
VIII has
8.
been
That's not
spitballing.
good.
These
That
are all
could have
sorry.
been the legacy of Final Fantasy 8. I feel like just
Yeah,
forgotten.
eaten by Ripley's.
Gone, eaten by Ripley's. McCaller, you got a new pick though. You got a fresh game for us.
Okay. I'm freaking out right now.
I know,
can't
me
even
too.
Believe
I know. And
get
I also hate my list.
I'm going to pick. Oh, I'm looking at the list. Let me go. I'll do Dino Crisis.
Yeah, baby. I'm surprised it took someone this long to grab that. Why so, you think?
I don't know. I've never finished it. I've started it a bunch of times and never gotten all the way through it, so there must be something keeping me from it. But it is a survival horror game.
Probably those
Like-
velociraptors. That's probably
Yeah,
what's
they
keeping
keep
you from
eating me.
beating it. Yeah.
Too scary.
Too scary.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and play it
Dino
now while I'm in
Crisis,
space.
though. Yeah, I love Dino Crisis. That's a great game.
It's a good one.
All right. Well, Charlie, take us home with your 5th and final pick, baby.
All right, I'm gonna pick another one of these. This is a game that I believe is bad, but I remember having a ton of fun with it. And it, as Jeremy leaves the room for my final pick.
Yeah, what the hell?
He heard it was a
Jesus.
bad game, and he doesn't support
Yeah.
that.
Done with it.
This game is very similar to the last one I picked. It's another shooter, but this one has a little something going for it. It was heavily marketed because it featured very compressed voice samples from one Bruce Willis. The game is called Apocalypse.
Dude, yes.
When I was looking at gameplay footage from 1, I was like, this kind of looks like that Bruce
It
Willis
does.
game.
I was thinking
Apocalypse came out later, so one is actually a Capcom developed game, and it's very cyberpunky and very cool. Whereas Apocalypse really leans into a kind of like a Dante's Inferno style, hell and demons and stuff like that. But I remember having a lot of fun with that too.
Was this originally supposed to be a movie tie-in game, and then the movie got
Maybe.
canceled or something? I remember there being some weird.
I remember it being a huge deal that Bruce Willis was doing a video game.
Yeah. Oh, Neversoft did this.
Yeah. And you know what? It was like, it's so funny if you look at like long plays for games like this, like one and this, like the long play for this I'm looking at is an hour and 30 minutes, which is just so funny how little gameplay there is, because you would never get to the end because you would die because the game was so punishing.
Gosh.
But
the
yeah,
main character's name is Trey Kincaid.
Trey
That's pretty
Kincaid.
good. It's pretty good.
Son of Thomas.
Yeah.
But yeah, this like, I mean, this it looks
cool.
very similar to one.
That's a good joke, Connor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that.
That
Hearn...
one, I do remember what. Oh, sorry, you're trying to.
No.
Move on. I was just gonna say that one was weird because the face buttons corresponded to directional firing, kind of like a Robotron.
Yeah.
And so, but you would have to hold two of them if you wanted, or you would have to shoot in one direction, and then your character would pivot, which is how you'd hit diagonal.
That's
yeah.
Maybe it's just the Bruce Willis of it all, but this also kind of reminds me of like the Die Hard trilogy game. Does anyone remember that? Where
yeah.
Wow,
all right.
He signed a multi-million-dollar deal for this game with Activision, and then they changed. I guess he was only gonna play a side character, and they changed him to be the main character so that his dialogue was reduced.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a silent protagonist.
Hearn?
Sort of like a Duke Nukem.
Yeah. All right. So for my last pick, I had a lot of pits that I really wanted to choose. There are a lot of pits still left on my list that I want to do, but I have to do this last one because it's out of my hands. It's No One Can Stop Mr. Domino.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to choose someone else, but I am powerless against the whims of Mr. Domino, so I have to choose this one.
What's
That's
it
my
called?
last one.
No one can
stop Mr. Domino.
Oh my god.
Most famous thing about Mr. Domino, no one can stop him. It's a puzzle platforming game where you play as Mr. or Mrs. Domino, and you run in a straight line, and you put dominoes behind you, and you have to set them all off in succession to see some fun animations. And it's actually a very good game, but it's not better than some of the games I could have picked, but I have to choose this one.
Yeah, no, I feel you, Hearn. Yeah, that's you're right. You're right to pick that. I feel like this is a game that was developed by like Pizza Hut or something. It's giving Pizza Hut energy. I don't know how else to
that kind
explain.
of character design to it, yeah. But
the developer's called Art Dink.
Art Dink.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks like a Dink game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
any Dink game.
No
How
One
did
Can
this
Stop
not get
Mr.
picked
Domino.
in our 1998
This has
draft?
got to be in the vein of like a Pepsi Man or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of that.
Are you thinking that just because it's called Domino's, which is another chain?
That's true.
That's
Oh,
yeah,
But
that's
wasn't Domino the Noid, or was Pizza Hut the Noid?
No, yeah, the
Domino
Noid
was
is
the
Domino's, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Avoid the Noid.
Avoid the
Hearn,
Noid.
I don't necessarily want to spoil the game for anybody who hasn't played it, but what is the reason no one can stop Mr. Domino? Is it cowardice?
It's when dominoes start to fall, they don't stop, right?
Yes. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. And you can't. Yeah. It's too late.
You're also cowardice.
Going on.
Yeah,
It looks
but
like
also,
you're doing like Rube Goldberg's. I just watched one in which you have dominoes fall and they make a woman's oven blow up, and so she burns to death and starts another chain of dominoes.
I want to play this.
Exactly.
Then it turned a woman into a she's now in her bikini and a teddy bear is looking
Never
at her with
mind.
hard eyes. Yeah.
This game has
I
no
forgot to
integrity.
explain,
This is bullshit.
The levels aren't just like, oh, you're in some living room. No, you're in like Japanese houses, and you're setting off chain reactions to like do random crazy things, like turn people into sumo wrestlers and stuff. It's
Well, I can say
very
definitively, I hope Mr. Domino never comes to my house.
well, good because he won't be stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm shocked you didn't pick the sequel. No one can stop Mr. Domino, but we must try.
But I implore you, Americans, we must try. Kristin, fifth and final pick.
Yeah, I'm wrapping this up again with a game that I've sort of played, but on a different console. It's Command and Conquer Red Alert.
Wow!
I
Thinking about this game.
Yeah, I love Tiberian Sun, and that was my Command and Conquer of choice was Tiberian Sun. But I have played a little bit of Red Alert, and it's basically the same game with a different story, and I really love that game.
Is this the Tim Curry one?
Yeah, that's where
one of those
famous Tim Curry scenes are.
Red Alert's great. Did anyone else play this game growing up?
I had
yeah.
PC.
I played it on the PC, but this.
I had the original for my Mac, and then Red Alert was a little too advanced, so I had to play it on PlayStation.
Very cool. Did StarCraft ever come out to PlayStation 1? Because it came out to the N64.
Yeah,
had StarCraft. On it, but
that sounds like a nightmare.
It does sound like a
was
nightmare.
also on a Nintendo 64. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
What was Red Alert?
Command and Conquer. I don't know about Red Alert, but at least the first one was.
Great pick, Kristin. Okay, Connor, fifth and final.
Unable to comply. Building in progress.
This is
my life for ire.
Sort of a Connor McCabe pick.
Okay.
Where I'm picking a sequel to a game that I love because I would like to play the sequel, and I've heard it's even better by some accounts, and that is Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage.
Oh, Ripto's Rage! I was wondering if Spyro was going to get any love on that.
I prefer the Spyro format of game to the level-based Crash Bandicoot by a little bit.
Ooh,
and the first Spyro, I just really I think it was the first game I played all the way through on my PS1 when I got it in 2020. It went down so smooth. It's such a fun open world 3D platformer, open zone really. And Spyro is so snarky. His friends are annoying. Give me Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage.
Yeah. Who do you think? Who do you think's more snarky, Crash or Spyro?
I think
Is it Spyro?
Yeah.
No.
In the games, Crash is not snarky.
Yeah.
Crash is snarky in the real world.
Crash is snarky when he's played by
his
by
attitude comes from the fact that he's wearing capris and no shirt.
And he's talking about
facial expressions. He's doing a lot of and that's
and he has a
counterculture.
strange relationship with a mask.
Yeah, Crash and Banjo are kind of similar. They got similar vibes. They're kind of like dopes a little bit, you know?
They're very much
I
himbos.
I could be wrong. I haven't played a Spyro game maybe ever. I always assumed Spyro was very earnest.
No, he's a little bit.
So too.
He's a little bit more like
cracking wines?
Sonic. He's more like Sonic.
He's like a kid, right? Yeah.
He's like, oh, great. Great. I gotta go rescue the princess. Oh.
I caramba.
He doesn't say that, but you know,
Eat my shorts.
I think it's because Bart had that trademarked. Okay.
I didn't do it. Remember that?
Yeah.
When he gets famous. I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. My fifth and final pick is going to be the game Blasto. Does anyone know the game Blasto?
R.I.P. Phil Hartman. Yeah.
What?
Jeremy, I was gonna draft that last because I thought, no way is anyone gonna draft
Oh, really? No way.
Absolutely, I was. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Wow.
let's talk Blasto for a second. Blasto is this game that had to have been like a bargain bin game that my parents got me for like a holiday. Like, oh, we got him a big game, but let's get him a couple extra $10 games.
Oh, I do remember.
Yeah,
Blasto.
this is Blasto is a game that's fully voice acted by Phil Hartman. And his design is that of like what Zach Brannigan's design ends up kind of being in Futurama. It's a really interesting game. Is it fun? Actually, kind of, yeah. I was playing this kind of recently, and it's not like less fun than Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty good. It's like an action platformer in space. It's a little bare bones, but like, you know, what game?
The long play is 6 hours.
Yeah, it's a kind of a quick game if you want it to be.
Oh, that's meaty compared to Apocalypse.
And I do feel like this honors sort of the bargain bin style games that I would play a lot of in this generation, which is, you know, your Gexes, your Crocs, your Blastos.
Yeah. I too was just playing it. I popped it on my Steam Deck because I had it. I remembered it, and I one or two times got to the second world.
Yes, yes, and that feels weird.
Everyone is talking about the difficulty.
Yeah,
it's
hard.
so hard. Yeah,
because the enemies have really good aim, and your aim is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but it is like a kind of cool mechanic where you're like sort of constantly strafing.
Yeah,
and he's like doing these little side hops to shoot at aliens. Yeah, it's still pretty funny. I mean, he's rescuing like space alien babes. Those are like your collectibles.
Yeah, he's funnier
just
than
babes in
Gex. I'll
space.
say that. Gex is like less funny than you remember. Blasto's more funny than you remember.
Yeah.
Hartman funnier than Dana Gould. That makes sense.
Yeah,
might be
I could say
true.
that.
It might be true.
Yeah.
All right, Blasto's
Wow,
gone. All
I
right,
can't
July,
believe it.
you're up. 5th and final.
All right. Going off my last pick of a game based off a film, I gotta do another one, and this one is way better than The Grinch, and it's Toy Story 2.
All right.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good
Buzz
pick.
Lightyear one, right?
Great pick.
Yes, Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. Such a fun game. I mean, it essentially is taking you through the beats of the movie, but there's a lot of great platforming in it. There's a lot of cool like weapon stuff and puzzles and little missions, and I can't remember if it's the actual. It can't be. I think it might be like the voice cast from like the Buzz Lightyear cartoon, which is not like.
That would have been Patrick Warburton.
I think
who
it might
was
be. Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear. So.
Yeah. So a lot of fun.
Imagine
with
a
this.
character whose secondary voice is Patrick
Yeah.
Warburton.
That's still
what
pretty good.
Clout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What clout?
Call me when it's Patrick Tim Burton. Am I right?
Call you when it's a guy that doesn't exist.
When it's a guy named Patrick Tim Burton.
Who doesn't exist.
Well, he's a character and he sounds a little bit like this. Edward Scissorhands.
Okay, now I'm in.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like it.
yeah.
You had to do the voice, and now I'm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I know Tim Burton to sound.
I can see him now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying the names of his movies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, he's in an interview, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see his hands or scissors.
He can't eat good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
All right.
a skeleton and likes Christmas.
Yeah. The duality of skeletons.
See, y'all were skeptical about Patrick Tim Burton, but
No,
now
I
that we're
like
on
it.
a roll, it's pretty good.
It's good.
And he's best friends with SpongeBob Iger.
Yeah. All right.
Nah,
Well,
I like the Marvels, right? I don't know. I don't know what Bob Iger's talking about.
Mikey
That's it.
Stephens, 5th and final pick.
Yeah, 5th and final, huh? I'm gonna go. Armored Core.
Oh my God! What the hell? What's wrong with you? I
I'm
love
gonna
just got
this.
added to PS Plus.
Go fucking wild, hog wild. From Software,
Yes.
when nobody knew what From Software was. We're like, what is this? Who are
Yeah,
they?
the fires of Rubicon weren't even burning yet.
No,
They
man,
weren't.
wasn't no
That's a great
Elden's
game.
Ring. There wasn't
Great
even a
game.
dude named Elden. He didn't exist.
Yeah. Young Eldon
Young
existed.
Young
but
Eldon.
Eldon.
Young Eldon. What's his interview
right-
sound like?
I don't know what Young Eldon is talking about.
Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, I like that. He's
I
also
can't eat
talking about
good.
Edward
I can't
Scissorhands.
eat good.
Isn't it crazy that Elden Ring is a multicam and Young Elden is single cam?
Yeah, that is weird.
It is
It's
weird.
crazy.
Yeah.
So Armored Core is my
Singa, my lord. Right? You can say
And,
something like
This space madness is hitting us all now.
yeah. There's not a ton to be said about that. I think it was a very cool mech game. I remember playing Mech Warrior. I don't know if anybody remembers that back in the day. And basically wishing this game existed. Kind of being like, this game's cool and fun, but I remember Mech Warrior was like very slow.
Yes.
And kind of like they tried to make the like motion style of the mech too realistic or something. Like I remember you had to do a lot of shit in the cockpit just to get your shit to move and stuff. And it's just like, this ain't fun. Like,
Yeah.
And then Armored Core was like, okay, you can like customize your mechs, change your weapons, change your look and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is a good game. This good mech game.
Yeah,
so
the
Mech
minute when
Warrior.
you're a kid
Or
and
sorry,
you realize
Armored
that
Core.
mechs just mean slow, That's like a horrible feeling when you're
what
like,
is that?
"Oh, wait a minute. Like I want them to move like people. McCollor, 5th and final. Take us home, baby. Take us home.
A lot of games still on the table. How are you supposed to pick one?
Sure.
Want to give a shout out, original Resident Evil. I can't pick it right now, but wild that didn't go. None of the Oddworld games. I mean, I thought they were gross. They revolted me to look at, but I thought somebody would have liked them.
You have a special place in my heart.
I don't think this is the end, though. I think people still have more picks, right?
Well, he's a gross guy.
This is it.
Oh,
this is the last one.
Everyone else has 5? Wow.
Everyone's got 5. Yeah, we're done.
There's one other
WWF
RPG.
SmackDown 2, Know Your Role. You can play as The
man,
Rock.
so good.
Throw dudes
Know
off
Your
Hell in a
Roll's
Cell.
so good.
I
Yeah.
love
good
this.
one.
I love this. Are you picking
Those
any of these?
WWF games.
Mortal Kombat Mythology, Sub-Zero.
Yeah, that's
Sub-Zero?
pretty good. That's
Fun
pretty
game,
good.
yeah.
Chrono Cross.
Oh yeah, the
Chrono
music in
Cross.
Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross is a good RPG. Don't
Wild
say it.
Arms.
Wild Arms.
I just assumed one of you would take Muppet Monster Adventure. But
Yeah.
So
I
there's a
didn't-
really good RPG that released right at the end of the PS1's live, Vagrant Story. That
Yeah,
was
that's
very
good.
Oh,
Kind
yeah,
of
people love
kind of a
Vagrant Story.
weird one. Yeah, it's like an action.
I don't know about Vagrant Story.
It's
It's
good.
good.
As I'm looking at my list, I got hit
I don't know about
by
that.
Ribley's 2 times.
You did.
Yeah, you
and
did.
both times they ate the games I haven't played. So looking at my list, these are all games I've played before. I gotta pick a game I've never played before. And it's a game I remember, and I honestly know nothing about it.
Oh?
I'm gonna pick Nightmare Creatures.
Oh!
I remember
loved it.
again, my friend's dad was playing video games throughout our my life, going over to his house.
Isn't this
And
the
Nightmare
Patrick Tim
Creatures was a
Burton
game that he had for a long time.
That's what I was thinking, Connor.
This
yeah.
is a
This is a-
scary game.
Yeah, dual protagonists, right? You get-
I'm
Yeah.
Googling it now.
This
to
is
learn more.
yeah. This is like
I mean, this
a
is Mr. Irrelevant. Like, it's not. You're not supposed to expect a lot from this last pick.
Sure. But this was a big game. I mean, the box
Yeah.
art for this is iconic, I would say.
Yes, cool box art.
Yeah.
I remember it being
Scary
very
box
hard,
art.
but it does kind of look cool. Like it's
Yeah.
like hack and slash before that
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
a
it
thing.
is.
Yeah,
It's
like-
very
it's
fast paced.
It's giving me like
Yeah.
Bloodborne
Castlevania
theming.
64 is what
Yeah.
it's giving me.
yeah.
Castlevania
Yes.
64.
Yes.
And I do remember all
Yeah.
these polygonal monsters with extra long arms. That's cool.
And yeah, the longer the arms, the more scared I am. I'll say that.
Right, because the further they can reach you,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter how fast you are if they can reach you.
It's like the Slender Man effect, right?
It's sort of like
Yeah.
the Slender Man effect.
And
Oh, the
don't
Mr.
get me
Fantastic.
started
Man.
if you put scissors on the end of those long
I could
arms.
use a little bit of that Slender Man effect, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
After-
yeah.
after
This
the
is America.
holidays.
Yeah, you want some middle school girls
Your
to murder
medical
you?
provider.
Yeah.
This is America, right?
Yeah. Give me Ozempico.
That was awesome that we all simultaneously delivered our joke on it.
I love it. Okay, now
Good.
I'm gonna read through this list. For the listener out there,
Please read it as
here we
Patrick Tim
go.
Burton.
Okay, here, Big Eyes. Okay, Charlie, you're walking home with Final Fantasy VII, Parasite Eve, Crash Bandicoot Warped 1, and Apocalypse. Dang, that's an eclectic list. That's definitely an eclectic list. Hearn, you're walking away with Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Crash Team Racing, Final Fantasy Chronicles, Front Mission 3, and No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. I mean, just the inclusion of Mr. Domino makes it eclectic, I think. Kristin, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, DDR Third Mix, Rhapsody, A Musical Adventure, Spice World, and Command and Conquer. Whew, there's a word for that list.
Perfect.
And it rhymes with neglectic. It's eclectic. Connor, Metal Gear Solid, Xenogears, Boku no Natsu Yasumi, Heart of Darkness, and Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. It is capital E, capital C, capital L.
Eclectic.
Eclectic. It's eclectic. It's eclectic.
It's
Okay.
eclectic.
Resident Evil 2 is one of my picks, along with Mega Man Legends, Final Fantasy 9, Wipeout 3, and Blasto. I mean, I always go eclectic, so I'm aiming eclectic.
You started and ended with Breaking My Heart, Jeremy.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It happens.
And looking
but-
back, I wish I would have done it.
Great
I wish I would have done it different. July, you are going home with Ape Escape, Tenchu, Silent Hill, The Grinch, and Toy Story 2. Jeez Louise. Eclectic much? Okay. Mikey Stephens, you are going home with Final Fantasy Tactics, Tenchu 2, NFL Blitz, Cool Borders 2, and Armored Core. So proud of you for getting the Armored Core. So proud of you for getting the sports games,
very
buddy.
pro-military, very pro-America.
Very pro. Yes.
very pro Final
head
Fantasy
injuries.
Tactics.
Yeah, very pro a lot of those
Really in
things.
support of our mech program.
And that is what makes you
Yeah.
ultimately the most eclectic.
Whoa.
Mikey McCollor, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Tomb Raider, Siphon Filter, Dino Crisis, Nightmare Creatures. So happy about the Dino Crisis pick. So happy about the Tomb Raider pick, buddy. You got your eclectic stamp. You're going home with that eclectic ribbon. Real quick, before we launch on out of here, let's kind of quickly go through some honorable mentions. We kind of did a little bit of that in that last round a bit, but like I'll go ahead and say Spyro and Crash ended up getting picked, but for a long time I thought they weren't going to get picked, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? And I was like, are these games don't live maybe as large in our minds as maybe I thought they did?
Oh, they do.
But they do.
I feel like
Vagrant
they've
Story.
been remastered, so I feel like
Yeah.
that's part of it, maybe.
Right.
I
Vagrant
think
Story is a huge game,
Chrono
actually.
Cross
Yeah,
is
Chrono
a
Cross.
Good
yeah.
RPG. I think it's better than I think people maybe remember.
I think that's true. I would also say Saga Frontier 1 and 2 are way better than people remember.
I have to shout out Bubsy 3D.
Bubsy 3D, of course, of course. Peter Pan, the game
NFL
Peter
Blitz
Pan.
2000.
I have I have a
Blitz.
sentimental pick I'd like to make.
Please,
This
please.
is a shout out to this goes out to my little sister who, when we were a kid, she would rent this game and she never actually played the game, but she would just run around in the little hub world because she just liked the world that it was in. And this would be Rugrats the game.
Oh, yeah.
Search for
I love
Reptar?
that.
It might be the search for Reptar.
I had that on
Where
my
you-
on my
where
stand.
you
That was
get
on
to-
my standby.
Where you get to
Somebody
be in the
stole it.
house and just like run around, and she just would never play any of this stuff, but she just loved being in the
Yeah.
house. And she
I love
loved
that game
Rugrats
too.
so
you
much.
went
Yeah.
mini golfing on Ice Cream
Yes,
Mountain.
mini
Yeah.
golfing. Yes, absolutely.
If somebody
Connor,
had taken Spice World, I would have picked Rugrats.
Connor,
over
I'm
Reptar.
surprised you didn't bring up Triple Play, which is a great baseball game.
I've actually never played a baseball game on this console.
Oh man, Triple
Yeah,
Play.
mine
Triple
of
Play
the,
was great. Yeah.
Good.
mine
Good
of the
stuff.
era was Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball on the 64.
Super Nintendo. Oh, on the
Yeah, that one I loved. But for I guess while I'm here, honorable mentions. Again, I have a limited experience with this console, but one game that is not that good, but in this vein of like licensed movie games, A Bug's Life is one that I have and played at a friend's house growing up. And then one that I was surprised that I didn't hear from anyone, not a series I've played, is the Twisted Metal series.
Yeah.
It was on my standby just in case a Ripley
No,
did something.
Twisted
We
Metal,
played the
I lump into that category personally of like, I don't. And this is gonna really ruffle some feathers.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Star Fox 64 is that great.
Oh my God!
God.
What
Okay.
have I walked into?
But that's
Let
so
me finish.
different than Twisted Metal.
No,
Twisted Metal, I
Let
agree.
me finish. Let me finish.
Twisted Metal
Without
sucks.
other
Yeah.
people. Playing with your friends.
okay.
That game
Still
is
not on board.
way
Not on
different.
board at all, but I do
Yeah.
Way
get
different.
what you.
Metal Gear
But the
Solid
single
or-
player is great.
Yeah, Twisted Metal's tough. I actually owned 3 of those games growing up. I kept pretending like I liked them, and then
Yeah.
it took me a long time to realize I didn't like what I
I
was
like
doing.
the idea of it.
Yeah,
I
me too.
like a car combat game that also incorporates racing rather than it just being Destruction Derby style.
Yeah.
Just drive around and shoot each other.
It doesn't
Did
feel as
anyone-
good in like a giant space, does it? To
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
maneuver. I hear that. Yeah.
Did anyone mention Gran Turismo or Ridge Racer or any of those?
No.
I'm not a big simulation racing
Yeah.
person. Give me the arcadey boys.
I had Road Rash.
Give me that.
Road Rash is a great one.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what? Also, a sleeper that was like maybe a predecessor to the GTA, also GTAs, but like the top-down
Driver. joints.
Driver.
Yeah.
Driver was a really fun game. Which
I could never
eventually-
get past the training mission
The
where you had to
garage,
do
yeah.
all the garage where you had to do all the maneuvers. I failed every single time and could not pull off the maneuvers, and so then we just had to return it to the video store. So I never got to play
I'm
it.
surprised nobody picked Bust a Groove.
Right. Right.
But maybe I'm the only one who loves rhythm games.
No. A lot of love for Busta Groove. A lot of love for Parappa.
Jammer?
On my end.
Hearn?
Jammer Lemmy?
Yeah.
And Clock Tower. That's a Connor McCabe game
Clock
for
Tower's
me.
a creepy one.
Clock
Underrated.
Tower
Yeah, I've been meaning to play Clock Tower
was-
for so many years.
What's the worst part about Clock Tower is you have no defenses, right? Whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
You're
scary.
like completely vulnerable.
Which is
like,
how I play
no one
Resident
can
Evil
stop
anyway,
me.
baby.
Yeah, it's like Mr.
Burton would
Domino.
like it. It's
Yeah,
got a
Mr.
big
Domino.
scissors man. Yeah.
Did anybody like? I mean, this was a huge game when it came out, but I didn't hear anyone even mention it. It was Spider-Man on the PlayStation.
It's on my backup list. Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
Pepsi
Yeah, I never played them,
Man
but people love
was
them, right? They're like
related to
beloved.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, they're really fun. They were Neversoft games. I mean, like, yeah. I think they were
Underrated
cool.
fighter. I want to shout out Bushido Blade.
Bushido
Yeah,
Blade.
One
very
hit
good.
kill.
Sick. That was in
Yeah,
fact
that's
sick.
Yeah.
What was
One
it?
hit kills or
Tomble?
Tomba.
Tobal
Tomba.
number one.
Tobal number
Oh,
one, and then
Tobal. They
Tomba.
came,
Tomba.
Yeah, Tobal number one came with the Final Fantasy VII
Yes.
demo. And so it
And,
became like the biggest selling game in Japan that year,
Right.
even though nobody really played the game.
Also, Klonoa was a great
Yes, Klonoa.
side-scrolling 2D platformer. And then, what is the
Rock
what is-
Legend of the Go-Go's.
Yes, there's that, of course, that. And then there's
The
it's not-
Wu-Tang had their own game.
Wu-Tang,
Wu-Tang
and they had their
Clan.
own controller
Yeah.
for PS1. But what is the shooter, the shoot 'em up that's like made by Square? That was the one
Einhander?
Einhander. Yes, that game is a classic.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dirge of Cerberus.
No, that's a PS2
I
game.
know,
That's
I
also a
know.
classic.
But also
My
classic.
first
Speaking of
disagreement
fighting
with Hearn.
There's a fighting game that I really love on PlayStation that really didn't get a lot of attention, but it was Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha. So
Yeah.
this was the 3D like Tekken version
Yeah.
of Street Fighter that I had a ton of fun with that, and it was because of the fact that I think Capcom really thought that their sprite-based Street Fighter games were being left behind while everything else went 3D. They made their own version of it, and I really, really liked that. I remember playing the hell out of it, but it's almost like impossible. There was like never saw an arcade machine with it. It never really kept the series going.
They kind of like hide it from like the collections.
They
the later
do,
collections.
but they did make those games through the PS2. So
Yeah.
there were
They
there
made
were-
PS2 ones?
Yes.
Mhm.
What the fuck you talking about?
Look it up.
Okay.
Look it up.
I have a couple more shout outs. I got
Please.
the talking about fighters, Soul Blade before Soul Calibur came out on PlayStation 1. Good 3D weapon-based combat in that. Strider 2, which is a
Oh,
sequel to
yeah.
Strider 1, but also came with it. Very cool Capcom 2D, 2.5D platformers, very difficult. The Suikoden games by Konami
Yeah.
for
Suikoden.
RPG fans. And then Jumping Flash 1 and 2, first
Oh,
person
yeah.
jumper games.
Yeah.
I just replayed the first one on PS Plus. It's a hoot.
So fun, that first one.
Mhm.
Oh, man. Well, folks, with that, we got to jet our little butts off into space.
Yeah, we did.
And
yeah,
as
we're getting attacked.
and as tradition, whenever we leave the ship, we got to plug while the alarm's going at full volume. Michael Hearn, where can people find you, and what do you want people to know?
All right, you can find my website, michaelchearn.com, with all my short films. You can find me on Blue Sky at MC Hearn, where I'm winning stuff for Mario 64 on Blue Sky, like Tomb Raider 456.
Amazing Charlie Mihelich.
You can find me on Instagram at Mihelicopter, or you can listen to my podcast, Baywatch Watch, that you can find wherever you get your podcast.
Connor McCabe.
Yeah, you can listen to my podcast also on this network, Call Me By Your Game, where I sit down with someone to hear about a meaningful video game experience from their past. And yeah, if you're listening to the show, thank you so much. Follow us at twitch.tv/SuperNPCRadio and follow. Yeah, that's really it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. July Diaz.
It's so loud. Yeah, I just want to plug during my therapy sessions with Charlie, he'll sometimes play some podcast episodes, primarily the roasts of Sonic, roasts of Mario, roasts of Donkey Kong, of this show, Video Games and Comedy Show. So check those out. Also check out...
Therapeutic.
Yeah, also check out me on Baywatch Watch.
So loud. Yes. July it's so loud.
It's very loud, and that's it.
Mikey McCollor.
Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube at Secret Blimp. And then check out my mod team, Baguette. We're performing with Jeremy's team, Love Seat, this Wednesday, assuming that's this week. I wrote a sketch
Wednesday.
about a character who does, in fact, have a big wrench.
Wow, very cool. Can't wait to see what that's about. I went Oscars route this month, baby. I did an Oscars sketch.
Smart.
You have time to rewrite that to a wrench sketch.
Yeah, I guess I could just completely make that a wrench sketch. Mikey Stephens.
Follow me on the stuff at Mikey Loves Mikey. Send me money at Mikey Stephens on Venmo. And as usual, every second Friday of the month, if you're in the Los Angeles area, come see Bitchin' perform at the UCB Theater. Do some fun improv.
Yes, and newcomer to the Space Solace, Kristin Thorsin. Great to have you. Great job today. Where can people find you? Where do you want people to know?
Thanks. Yeah, I Twitch stream sometimes. You can find me there. Blue Sky. Also Venmo at Kristin.
Alright. Love it, love it. You can follow me on Blue Sky, I guess, at Jeremy Schmidt. And follow my show there, VGA Comedy Show at Blue Sky. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/SuperNPCRadio. You can find bonus content from the makers of this show and Call Me By Your Game. We are kind of just over the middle hump of our Control Games Club right now, so you should go over there. You can catch up to that season, play along with the show. But we will, in just a couple weeks, have voting will be open for our next Games Club. So you're going to want to get in on that early, folks. You're going to want to get over there, figure out what's going on. We also have a Discord, so we can also chat over there. Yeah, we'll be back next week with something else. Safe voyage, y'all.
And